Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Honest Truth Truth Seekers Live podcast. We're going to wait a couple seconds just to make sure that I am coming in loud and clear. Got to make sure I check myself. Already 13 people in. This is a blessing to be here with y'all again. Make sure I'm not lagging. 1 second. All right. It looks good. It sounds good. We have a special announcement. Loren is going to be performing and revealing the winner of the Unique Candle Boutique giveaway. So make sure that you stick around for that. That's coming in at about 13 minutes away from now, 9 p.m. Central Time. It is so good to be with you all again. If you are enjoying the new visuals, then be sure to thank the contributors that you see in the channel, in the links in the scrolling box below this banner here. All the contributors who have donated are responsible for the increase of quality, production, and for the continued message of the newfound mental war that we are fighting against, unfortunately, our own kind. Today's stream is going to be absolutely groundbreaking, just as most of these streams I try to make them be. I can't wait to really get into this just to show you the new level of disparity that the black men in our community continue to sink themselves into. Asia says she is here for it. Thank you so much for being here again. Asia, Thoughtful Nights, welcome back. It's good to see you again. Taylor Beauty, welcome back. Says hello, THT, aka Miles Morales. What a compliment. Thank you so much. Maya, welcome back. Yoke, one of the first commenters in this channel, actually the first commenter on the stream right now. Good to see you again, Yoke. Lola B, I think it's important to make your men feel needed and appreciated, but the men who usually think like this take it too far. And Lola, you are on the money. That's what we'll be covering today. You have no idea just how far they are willing to take it, Lola B, but you are on the money. D, welcome. Oh, a little random, but you were pretty cute. Thank you, D. I thought that you were the guy D that we had. Either way, even if you are a guy, listen. Hey, I take compliments from men and women. That does not bother me whatsoever. Human beings are human beings. That doesn't bother me. So thank you so much for the compliment, D. The Fed, first one in a minute, and I can actually be here. I'm glad to have you here. We are going to get started. Here in a couple minutes. We're going to wait for the chat room to get a little bit more full. Asia Gazalia says, there's hope yet for our men. Absolutely. We are waking up slowly but surely. Make sure that you check out the sponsored, I guess you can say, contributors that I put in the comment box below. All the video content creators whose message aligns with what you hear on this channel, with what you see on this channel, whose message coincides with the onward movement that we are trying to fight to save the youth in the black manosphere, to save the black children who are getting ready to embark on their journey in life, to save those men who are willing and have the ears that is willing to listen to good knowledge and wisdom. We are on a forward march in the figurative mental war against the black manosphere. So what I want to do really quickly, for those who are actually here early, I want to give and read an article for you that this live stream is actually based on. Now, I came across this article, I want to say, about 2 or 3 months ago, and it was about a guy who was feeling very proud, a black man who felt very proud of his education, right? And he was figuratively and literally calling himself a prize. And I've been thinking about this for the past couple of days, and I said, you know what? I think I can do enough research on this content and this topic alone to have a live stream on. Now, this guy is going to school to be a lawyer, and it's just very interesting, the mentality that he has. And even in the black men specifically, who do go on to become educated, the narcissistic and twisted mentality that they still go on to exhibit is disturbing at best, completely sadistic and evil at worst. I've spoken on and I've talked a lot about how black men want their women to be indentured servants, aka slaves. And we've even given examples of men in the manosphere joking to references and allusions of beating their women with whips and or making their women do the chores and or a woman needing to work to prove her keep inside of the house. All allusions to present and past day slavery that our ancestors fought for us to be free from. These black men in the manosphere are continuing essentially white empowerment or white supremacy, if you will. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Black men are the number one contributors to current modern day white supremacy. Welcome to everybody who is just now joining. A huge thank you to all of our contributors. This is your first time seeing the new webcam. You might not have checked out the 1,000 subscriber special. We had a party and a get together celebrating the growth of this channel. Make no mistake about it. We have a lot of things going on in the background. A lot of good progress is getting ready to be made in this figurative and literal mental war against our black men who seek to continue to downtrodden the black community. Hello, Queen of the South. It's good to have you in here. Facts either way, it's a catch-22. You're absolutely right, Queen of the South. You're absolutely right. It's a catch 1,022 at this point. Hello, Sweetie71. Glad to have you back in the chat. Let's get started with this article. Once again, we have the giveaway coming up in a few minutes at 9 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to share this page with you. I'm going to share this page with you. No need to share audio. This page is written by a website called blissforsingles.com. Now, this, I assume, was written by Tatiana, who you see in the right-hand side of the webpage here. A beautiful black woman who is, I assume, graduated. If not, she's an entrepreneur and working for herself. She's well-spoken. She is the pinnacle or the epitome, once again, of black excellence. I'm going to try and zoom in to make this picture a bit larger for you so you can read along with it. If you have a hard time seeing it, then just take my word that I am reading it accurately for you. Let me take all these comments so you can actually see. Hold on a second. Remove the banner. All right, let's get started. This was on Twitter a while ago. This is a black man whose handle you can see here. I don't want to say it out loud and dox him. I don't want them to get upset at me. And he said this: now that I'm a JD bar number loading, I don't know what that is exactly. JD, I did research, is a type of lawyer before you become a lawyer. It's called a Juris Doctor. Not an actual doctor, but a Juris Doctorate. Anyways, he says, I've entered into a new arena of black men. And in this arena, I'm the prize now. In caps lock. Don't just take my word for it, though, he says. And before you kill me in the comments, let me drop some stats for your ass right quick so you can see my point. Black women outnumber black men by 2 million. He's right there. Black women don't want to deal with a black man who's gay, down low, has baby mama issues, or has a felony conviction / record in jail, which collectively is a large percentage of our race, unfortunately. I'm glad he's at least being truthful. We'll give him that. Excuse me. As statistically, 37% of black men are in jail, while 1/3 of black men have some form of criminal record. So he's being honest. He's being honest. It still doesn't stop him from being a pompous, arrogant prick, though, however. He goes on to say that black women typically don't want to, quote unquote, date down and prefer to have a black man that is on the same playing field as her or higher. Well, statistically, only 7% of black men are professionals. Now, keep in mind, all these stats that you're hearing are from a black man who has a Juris Doctorate degree in law. This isn't coming from me. I don't like to always invoke statistics into these conversations because Negroids of the black manosphere and the manosphere would love to just throw all these statistics from CDC, the Center of Disease Control, and all these other random quote unquote government-backed institutions just to prove their point that the black woman is responsible for them and their failures in life. I don't like to throw these statistics around, but this is a black man. This is somebody who's on your side, my fellow ignorant Negroids. He goes on to say that with this massive criteria that black women don't want, and when dating a black man, they essentially drastically limited the dating pool of viable black men that majority of black women are currently after, which means everyone doesn't get picked. And statistically, 70% of black women go unmarried. You see where I'm going here? Question mark, question mark. Additionally, he goes on to say, black women want their mate to be attractive, have some form of edge, style, to be exciting, and not to be a lame. I know that this is all subjective, but everyone doesn't have these so-called quote unquote X factors, which he says, which lowers the number of viable black men even lower. Later on in the stream, I'm going to get into a live stream by a woman named I Am Verbal. Find her links in the comment box below after this stream. And when we get into I Am Verbal stream, we will be discussing the affluent black men who choose to not get married, to quote unquote pump and dump. And so we have an epidemic of men who do have resources, who are viable, who are financially successful, stable, and could be pillars in the black community, but choose not to marry the black woman, or any woman for this case, to go on to continue their dynasty or their legacy, perhaps. So for this black man to claim that only 70% of or that 70% of black women aren't married is a direct hypocrisy or reflection of the black men in the community who choose not to marry black women. But once again, black men have dedicated this problem solely to the responsibility of black women, rather the irresponsibility of black women. Let's get back to this. So, with me now gaining access into this very small percentage of black men that are young, he says, for the record, I'm under 30 with 2 degrees, single, attractive, are heterosexual, have no criminal record, no baby mama drama, and have some form of a high paying career potential. He doesn't have the high paying career yet. Let me make that known. He has a high paying career potential. He's not earning high figures yet. We'll go on to explain this as soon as we're done. We're almost done here. Stick around, folks. And also, the giveaway is coming up in less than 5 minutes. The majority of black women are competing for against each other, me talking to himself, ... You tell me who's the real prize here. That's how he ended it. You tell me who's the real prize here. So he claims he's a man that all of these women, you women, are competing for. Now, personally, I wouldn't even associate with a man who talks as arrogantly, as narcissistically, as proudly as he does. Moreover, I can tell you that when I was in college, I had a lot of black dudes walk up to me and try and put me in their fraternity and their organization, just like Tevin Samuels is. He's a part of the Noops. They always do this weird stuff. They always got to feel together and be together because they don't have the ability to think for themselves. They have to be with their brothers all the time. They got to be hanging out with their brothers all the time. You're my brother, man. You're my brother. You're my brother. I had a best friend in college. He was like, man, I want you to be a part of my fraternity. You're my brother, but I'm going to call you my brother. I said, what does that mean, bro? I'm your brother. Let's just leave it at that. I don't need to go into any kind of secret organization just to be a brother. Now, if you want to join a fraternity, a sorority, I have nothing against that. But when you choose to pedestalize yourself and be proud of this quote unquote brotherhood of some sorts, you start to lose me a little bit there. Once again, not throwing shade. It's just not my personal taste. Right. So he claims that he's part of this alpha, whatever it might be, minority, because he has a Juris Doctorate's degree. Now, I decided to research the Juris Doctorate's degree in law. Let's look at some information on the Juris Doctorate's degree. Less than a few minutes before the giveaway, I want to cover this really quickly. If you're just now joining, make sure to like, share, subscribe if you already haven't. Huge thank you to all the contributors who are responsible for this new viewing atmosphere, as well as the quality of the channel continuing to rise. I cannot thank y'all enough. You are truly the best. If you would like to contribute to the channel, if you enjoy what you're seeing, if you enjoy the brutal, honest truth, then I'm going to put the links for you to donate in the chat box right now. All donations do go directly to the channel and support, as well, for growth of the quality. Now, getting back to the Juris Doctorates, I said, okay, what is this Juris Doctorates? Why does this black man think and feel that he is now a part of the elite group of black men that's worthy for the black woman to worship the ground that he walks on? And what I find might be a little bit surprising to you. The most common path to becoming a lawyer is earning a Juris Doctorate from the American Bar Association. So he's not a lawyer yet. He's on the way. I'll give him that. He's on the way. Good for him. Now, how much does a Juris Doctorate's lawyer make? Well, if he stopped right now with the current degree he has, about 179 ranked law schools that reported those data, the median report was $58,000 with a low of $42,000 and a high of $74,000. So about 50 to 60K is the median, but on the low end, we're talking low 40s, and on the high end, low to mid 70s. Okay, so this is still not the mythological six-figure man that these Kevin Samuels, that these Jessica X, that all these other menospheric baboons refer to. It's still a little above average to average, right? So here we have a black man who is wanting to be celebrated for being average, for making currently $40,000 to $50,000, if not less than $50,000. This is the trend that we're starting to see. Black men want to be celebrated for essentially doing what you, as a productive, responsible adult in capitalistic America, should be doing by default. You don't get celebrated, my Negroid friend, just because you make $45,000 a year. That's not how America works. You're doing what you need to do to survive. You still, with the Juris Doctorate degree, you Negroid of the manosphere, can't provide for a family, for resources, for insurance, for your child to be a productive, growing, human, adolescent, teenager, and well-rounded adult in modern day capitalistic America. But here we have a black man who wants for the ground to be worship that he walks on, that he graces you as a black woman with. Now, really quickly, I want to invite Loren onto the stream. We're going to do this giveaway. Before we continue, if you're just now joining, really quickly, let's get this clear. If it says you don't have to have a degree to be a lawyer, you just have to pass the bar exam. Absolutely. Definitely know that. Definitely know that. But still, these Negroids make it seem like they're astrophysicists working for NASA. Before we continue, once again, we have to announce the giveaway. If you are currently watching and you are the giveaway winner, then I would like to congratulate you. If you're watching this on replay, then I would advise you to reach out to Loren via the links that will be in the comment box below, or at Unique Boutique Candles on Instagram. Unique Boutique Candles. I will put the word for you to follow on Instagram. Send her a direct message with your username, letting her know that you are the winner, and we will get that over to you. She will let you know how to go about with the shipping. So without further ado, welcome back, Loren. It is an honor to have you back.
Hey, y'all.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. I'm excited about the future of the channel. I'm excited for this opportunity that we had to kind of do something special for everybody that's been supporting, and just to reflect the excellence that you and your business, Black Excellence, has on our community. We need more excellence. We need more entrepreneurs. We need more women and men, of course, which is what we're getting on now, that exude your level of excellence, confidence, and professionalism in the Black community. You are a direct representation of what the pinnacle, or what Black people should be striving to, by and large, go for, which is self-sufficiency, excellence, high quality, professionalism, kindness, sweetness. The list could go on, Loren, but I'm so glad to be a part of this. And so if you want to, we're going to go ahead and announce the winner of the giveaway and what they'll be receiving as well. So go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So, firstly, I have a little problem because nobody followed all of the steps. So I have a bunch of new followers. But I have no idea if they came from this channel. So
nobody wins. Okay, well, that's it, guys. You messed up. You have messed up the giveaway. Thank you, Loren, for being here. And this is the end of the stream. Thank you all so much for joining. No, I kid. I figured that it might happen this way, just because I know the sharing was the part that people were gonna be like, whatever. And so I figured that it actually would happen this way, to be completely honest. So what we're still gonna do is, if you want to, we're just gonna go ahead and pick one of the followers that ended up following you, assuming that they're from this platform. If they aren't from this platform, what we can do is we can give them 48 hours to reach out to you. If you do not reach out in 48 hours, we'll give you some time. All right. We should give you 4 hours, since y'all didn't follow direct. No, kid.
24 hours.
24 hours. Okay. Loren says 24 hours. If you not reach out in 24 hours, then you will not receive your product, and I will be taking it from you. Make no mistake about it. Okay. I kid. Well, Loren, if you want to go ahead and select one at random, whatever pops out at you, go ahead and announce the winner.
This is the winner that I believe did come from the channel. The name is GTJ Rob.
GTJ Rob. I'm typing it in caps locks. GTJ Rob. If you are in the chat right now, make sure to reach out to Unique Boutique Candles on Instagram. You have won this drawing. And Loren, did you have something pre-picked out, or did you want them to pick it out, or how do you want that to go?
I well, I was going to do it according to if it was a guy or if it was a girl, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I assume this is a guy. So if this is a guy, I plan on giving him one of the blue aspen candles,
Okay.
and he's going to basically get a set of masculine candles.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you
Mhm.
what, high quality, awesome product, and something to make a house or an apartment a home or abode, respectively. GTJ Rob, once again, if you are watching this on replay, if you see or hear, or if somebody knows GTJ Rob, you have 24 hours counting down from right now, 9 p.m. Central Time. You have until 9 p.m. Central Time tomorrow to reach out to Unique Boutique Candles. If he does not respond, we will continue this giveaway on the next live stream. So there's a chance, ladies and gentlemen, that you still have a chance. Just wait, hang on, and we will get
Mhm.
back on the next live stream to let you know
Yes,
how.
and please, even if you don't do the share, just at least at me so that I can know that you entered the contest, because I have no idea where all these followers, you know.
Excellent. Excellent. Great point. Great point. So,
Mhm.
y'all hear that? Make sure to let her know that you have followed her, that you are from the channel. All right. So my fault a little bit. I'm kind of convoluting those directions. I thought it might happen, but I gave it a shot anyways. I was listening to the giveaway playback, and I was like, dude, I sound like I can't barely speak the English language. I didn't quite do you justice, Lorenzo. Forgive me. But I'm excited about it, and we're gonna give him some time. Once again, if you have not won, just stick around, ladies and gentlemen. And Loren, it's always good having you here. I'm gonna take you down really quickly, but if you want to come back on later, you're always more than welcome. I appreciate you for supporting this channel and contributing all that you have. So thank you so much, Loren.
Alrighty.
All right, talk soon. Bye. All right, that was the wonderful, beautiful, majestic Loren. I always love having Loren on here. She is just something about Loren. And so, uh, Loren, I see you in the background. You're welcome to stay there, or you can leave. You know which one I prefer. Oh, she left. She left me. Gosh, dang it. Dang it, Loren. I didn't want that, but it's okay. All right, we're moving on. So this Negroid earns about a medium salary, the average salary of $50,000, but he feels like he is ready for you as a black woman. He deserves you as a black woman to worship the very ground that he walks on, to lay down when he gets home, kiss his feet, kiss the ring, as Tevin Samuel says. He always does this thing, kiss the ring, kiss the ring. Ignorant ass niggas, man. He wants you to kiss the ring as if he's a king in this American capitalistic kingdom. You see, Negroids think that they're the prize just because they are men. And past that, they think that they're the prize just for actually doing what men are supposed to do. Kevin Samuels talks about something with black women that I think is very interesting. He always refers to black women having debt, college debt. Oh, so you want to get married to a man? Well, what about all your debt? What about the debt that you're going to have? He's got to take on your debt. You're going to have a lot of debt. As if black men who go to college, such as this Juris Doctorate accredited lawyer himself, aren't going to have debt as well. As if they have the financial backing, we know that they don't, to pay for college cash, to pay for college straight up. So somehow, black men who go to college and have debt, that's okay. But the black woman to go to college and have debt, now you have a problem. Now it's baggage. Black women, once again, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. On the icon, the thumbnail of this video, you see the black man with his hands shrugged with his graduate cap and then the money sign, dollar sign on there. That's the reason that I put that picture up there. Because the same principles and rules that apply for an educated black woman apply for an educated black man. But they don't see it that way. You see, what's fascinating about this, once again, is that the Twitter post gives all the info of just how bad black men are doing. He even stated 37% of black men are currently incarcerated. 1/3 of them have a criminal record or history. But instead of realizing and coming to the conclusion that uh, that this is a very, very, very large issue in the community, he wants you to praise him for the fact that he isn't a complete detrimental idiot to the community, that he's a good person. We've stooped so low in the black man, and the black manosphere has stooped so low in their community that they want to be praised for being decent adults. He feels that because he's of the minority of black men who are actually trying to do something mediocre to average in his life, that he is worthy of praise. Twisted, narcissistic. I'm going to read some of these comments really quickly before we keep going. Right, they have student debt too. Of course, they have student debt. Niggas are acting like they can pay for a Juris Doctorate degree in college. Niggas are acting like they can pay, like they don't have to take a student loan out. The irony of this is also a white guy problem as well. I don't see our races so different. We all have really shitty people we have to deal with. Yeah, to some extent. The difference between white and black guys is that white men own 95% of America. That's the difference. So we're comparing apples to the apple tree, essentially. They are one and the same to an extent, but they are a complete difference when you start talking about the cumulative effect. Alexander Brandon said, "Hi, I'm late. Don't worry, Alexander. You didn't miss too much. Always good to have you in here, Alexander. I hope the new conquest of your entrepreneurial desires are starting to self-realize." Thoughtful Knight says, "Actually didn't know the incarceration numbers were that high." Yeah, I didn't know the incarceration numbers were that high, to be honest. He said 37% of black men are incarcerated. I didn't know that. But hey, this is an educated black man. But of course they're going to come for me saying, "Oh, Truth said 37% of black men are locked up." No, one of your fellow Negroid Manospheric brothers did. I simply read what he said. One of your educated brethren. If there's really that much, that's a disgrace. That is sad. I didn't know it was that high. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look that one up. 37% of black men are currently locked up. 1/3 of them have an active criminal history, and you wonder why black women are choosing to leave black men alone. And you still support black women. You still support black men who are telling black women that they're the problem. Meanwhile, 37% of black men are locked up. What? Mocha Mommy, welcome to the stream. Always good to have you and your professional input on here. I hope everything has been well. Go ahead. What did you have to add to the conversation?
Hi there. Thank you. And I'm glad you're doing well with all the severe weather. So I'm glad you're doing okay.
Oh, thank you so much, Mocha.
Okay. So as far as like higher education and debt, part of my career I spent as a nursing instructor. Now, the thing that makes it so crazy when it comes to like Black student loan debt. So the average Black woman who's in student loan debt here in the state of Texas is about $36,000, right? So it's about the cost of a Toyota RAV4 versus the million more dollars she will gain over the entirety of her career, being as though she's part of the educated, higher earning workforce. So the $36,000 in debt really does kind of equal itself out with when you talk about how much higher your earnings still are in the United States. Now, as far as like lawyers and Juris Doctorates, like, yes, you're right. You don't have to technically go to law school to get a Juris Doctorate, but it helps as far as like connections and internships because jobs are just so hard to find. So I would suggest if you are going to be a lawyer to go to law school, but just make it more affordable. And another thing I think is really missing from the conversation, there was a book, it was written actually by a Black man, actually. He's in the Dave Ramsey universe. It's called Debt Free Degree. And it just really shows people how to avoid a lot of the predatory lending scams that a lot of, especially Black women, fall victim to. So what I don't like about the manosphere is that it's a lot of accusations. It's a lot of condescending rhetoric, but really not a lot of solutions. So when we kind of start talking a little bit more about like 529s, Coverdale's, debt-free education, tuition reimbursement, like, you know what I mean? Like none of those solutions ever come up, right? It's always you Black women in your debt. So, I mean, I just want to encourage people to like really look into the solutions around it because there are solution-oriented Black men out there. So seek those out and don't spend so much time in that manosphere space.
For sure. Absolutely, absolutely. And Mocha Mommy, I always appreciate you having you on here. You can stick around by all means. If you have something to say, then I'll make sure to pull your avatar back up. I always love having Mocha Mommy on here, and she speaks emphatically and to the point, concisely, and everything that she always says is just 100% dead on. It's just it's on point. I love having Mocha Mommy's input on there. Thank you so much. Once again, Mocha, you're free to interrupt me as you see fit anytime. I want to read a comment really quickly that according to MJ said I have never heard of an attorney that didn't attend law school. That's weird. Actually, that's not the comment that I was trying to read. Oh, she says I was with an attorney. He made bank, own multiple businesses. Right. That's all good, MJ. That's all good. Right. But in this instance specifically, even a black man who has businesses, makes money, does this, does that, his mentality, the mindset is twisted. And so Coriander Yander always refers to this as a golden dusty. We have people in the black community and in the black manosphere who do, as black men, earn a lot of money, but their willingness to contribute back to the black community is lacking. Therefore, it's still detrimental because the problem is most black men already don't earn that much money. But the black men that do go on to be a part of the severe minority are so twisted and evil that there's nothing that comes out of that still. And so it's a lose-lose situation. You have very few black men that are in support of true uprising, of true contribution to the black community. And I'm going to prove your point right here, MJ. I didn't want to talk about this right now, but I'm just going to go down to it. I'm just going to go down to it. I'll just say this for now. Russell Wilson. We'll talk about Russell Wilson later. But in the black manosphere, black men, berate's not even the right word. Black men despise Russell Wilson's in the black community. Russell Wilson, a well-to-do man, multimillionaire, athlete, smart, well-spoken, takes care of children and other men's children in the community like Future, who black men in the manosphere would call a boss. I'm not going to get into those points right now. We're going to wait a second. The rabbit hole gets deeper and deeper, folks. Make no mistake about it. It gets deeper and deeper with these ignorant Negroids. I just can't believe this. Let's define something really quickly. What makes a prize? What makes something inherently valuable? Let's take a look at luxury cars. I want to break this down for y'all so you understand. Lamborghinis aren't valuable for the simple fact that they are rare, okay? Rather, because every single Lamborghini is held to such a rigorous quality of standard that intrinsically their value skyrockets. It's a direct representation of everything that Lamborghini stands for, right? Now, Lamborghinis are rare for the sole fact that they do cost a lot of money, but a Lamborghini isn't a Lamborghini because it costs a lot of money. The outside of a Lamborghini isn't what makes it a lot of money. It's the internals of the Lamborghini that adds to Lamborghini's name. Okay, so I want to define that for you really quickly. Mocha Mommy says thank you in the private chat. Not a problem, Mocha Mommy. It's always great to have you here. And stick with me here. Stick with me here. Somebody says very true. Russell Wilson purchased Amazon stock for his offensive line. That is amazing. Yeah, black men will cuss Russell Wilson out. They call him a simp. They call him a weak man. They call him this. They call him that. And he's raising one of their idols' children. Russell Wilson has never said a single disrespectful thing about Future. Russell Wilson has never said anything disrespectful about anybody so far as we see. When we talk about the idealistic, successful black athlete or black man in the public eye, it is somebody like Russell Wilson. And these manosphere Negroes, which I'll show you in a little bit later, I have to define value first. These manosphere Negroes hate Russell Wilson. As if Russell Wilson's happiness somehow is tied into their own personal identity. How one man hates that another man is happy in his certain situations or circumstances, it's beyond me. I'll never understand that. Why another man is going through life worried about Russell Wilson and feeling that he needs to do better or pick a better woman. That dude is happily married. And these niggas sleep at night dreaming about Russell Wilson and their hatred for him. These niggas are insane, man. These niggas are insane. Meanwhile, they'll look at somebody like Future. See, Future's got See, all these girls want to sleep with Future, and Future's doing this, and Future. They have all the smoke for Russell Wilson, but no smoke for Future. They still go driving down to the club with Future's music blinging. We'll get into that later. First, we have to get back to what we're talking about. He's literally a high value man. Exactly. He's literally a high value man. We're talking about a multi $100 million athlete, and black men hate on this man. You can't make this up. Once again, going back to the Lamborghinis. Now, if Lamborghini wanted to keep the same body style, but lacked a quality control aspect in their internal components, for instance, they had engine sludge issues or their transmissions went bad. The outside appearance, aka education for the black man in this instance, that JD'd Juris Doctorate lawyer, who we read the article of later, would not be sufficient enough in value to support the price tag that he's demanding, aka making him a golden dusty, aka making a Lamborghini with no engine a golden dust ball, for a lack of a better chance, or saying. So stick with me here. We're getting really deep on this stream. You take a Lamborghini, it looks great on the outside. You gut it, there's no chairs, no seats, no engine. That Lamborghini is utterly useless until you figure out a way to get internal components to get that Lamborghini moving, because it's not the outside appearance that gives something its value. It's the internals that give something its value. And in this case, this black man whose article we read earlier has shit quality for internal qualities. There is no internal fortitude in this man. Educated Negroids, by and large, are Lamborghinis with no quality control of internal components. They claim that they're a part of the minority. They claim that something sets them apart. But if you have a conversation with them, their minds are nothing and nowhere. They're not even in the same stratosphere of true community progress. They're on like another whole solar system. Going back to what makes a man of value, we can read and listen to this lawyer. He has a lack of emotional intelligence, a lack of maturity, a lack of compassion, a lack of self-identification and identity as a black man. At the end of the day, he feels that simply because he upholds the normal society standards of education, it gives him the right to be an asshole. Let's look at another quality control issue of the educated black man. Negroids who become accomplished choose to date outside of their race simply for another way for them to compensate for the lack of failure within their own community. For example, white men, Asian men, Latino men all suppress the black man, right? Black man is finally able to make a little money and a name for himself, gains a little bit of monetary establishment. This black man then pursues other races of women since his mind equates him competing with other races on a higher level of competency by choosing their women. It is a figurative acknowledgement in his mind that he has made it when he can date another race of women. You see, black men haven't built anything for themselves in capitalistic America, so in their twisted, nonsensical thought process, they think that if they date a woman whose man has built for her, Latino, Asian, and white, then that somehow relinquishes their lack of community progress that their fellow brothers have contributed towards the black community. That's why they feel the need to date out. They feel like looking at a black woman is a reminder of their twisted, dilapidated hoods or wretched environments that they grew up in. They're constantly reminded that them as a black man have done absolutely nothing for the community, and they see the black woman as a negative aspect of that. This is getting deep here, folks, so make sure you stick with me. I went in for this one. I try not to get so deep, but I have to at some points just to prove a certain point. So stick with me here. But at this point, and even what's crazy about this, we heard a line about this. Kanye West said, and when he gets on, he leave your ass for a white girl. Go get down, girl. Go ahead, get down. Right? We all joke about it and laugh about it and everything. It's on the song Gold Digger. Of course, he married Kim Kardashian. We know that. It's on the song Gold Digger. But this is true. Make no mistake about it. Now, they'll try and say, well, it's because black women aren't feminine. Black women aren't this. Black women aren't that. They're not feminine. is because you as a black man don't own shit. They don't have to follow you because there's nothing worth following you for. You see, the interesting about Lamborghinis is that if you watch TV, you'll never see a single Lamborghini commercial. Do you know why? The reason you don't see Lamborghini commercials, Ferrari commercials, Porsche commercials, and things of that nature is because we all know the value of a Lamborghini. We all know the value of a Porsche, right? But this black man specifically feels the need to proclaim to the top of his lungs that he is of value and he thinks that he is worth calling himself the prize. Well, no man who's truly a prize has to call himself a prize. Women know that he's the prize. Women can see that he's the prize. They acknowledge that he's a prize, and he has no problem getting women. A Lamborghini doesn't have to prove it's a Lamborghini. It is what it is. So the fact alone that you, this black man particularly, and black men in the manosphere, have to try and somehow convince women that they're a prize is backwards. Because true prizes are desired for the fact that they are what they are. You see, most black men in the black manosphere want women to follow them when they have $10 in the bank account. But conversely, the opposite side is just as sad. Going back to the year, damned as you do, if you do, you're damned if you don't. The black man who is of financial equity believes that he's a demigod amongst his community and he must be revered and worshipped by black women who should in turn feel honored that they had the opportunity to provide him indentured servitude. Meanwhile, the actual men who are prized are demonized. Let's get to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is called a simp by men in the manosphere because he isn't authoritative enough. Recently, he was on some live thing, and they were interviewing him and Sierra. I don't know what it was. And these niggas were voicing their opinion that he was a simp for publicly claiming that the greatest fear in his life was losing his wife, Sierra. They claim she didn't do enough publicly to match his level of affection, aka she didn't worship the ground he walked on, and that he was a simp for telling his wife, the woman that he loved and married, bore children with, that he was afraid to lose her. This is indicative of a very large and disturbing problem. Most of black men who have money would fall into the belief that Russell Wilson, not Simmons, is a simp, when in reality he is a balanced, well-minded man. A multimillionaire class athlete who is providing fathership, fiduciary responsibility, living an exemplary role of a black man in the black community, both on and off stage, is a simp in the black manosphere. But Future's a boss. Moreover, as we said before, if he's happy, then in what world does Russell Wilson's happiness weigh so heartily on you ignorant negroids that you feel the need to throw hateful remarks towards a man who knows nothing about your existence? Niggas are lost. You see, men who are truly the prize are men like Russell Wilson. Black men who mentor, minister, provide job opportunity, provide monetary help to those who are lesser than or needing assistance. Just like Mocha Mami said earlier, or one of the commenters said earlier, he bought all of his offensive line Amazon stock. He recognizes the people that work for him because most offensive linemen don't make as much as the star athletes. He helps people who help him, who are directly responsible for him being in the position that he is now. He gives back to his immediate community. Men in the manosphere, they call those men simps. Russell's son could grow up right now to become an athlete because of his father's success, well mannerisms, and personal connections. He is forming a potential dynasty with his lineage, and Negroids call this man a simp. Here's a list of famous stepdads for all of you ignorant Negroids watching right now. Russell Wilson, Diddy, I bet you didn't know that, Matt Damon, Brad Pitt, Harrison Ford, Ashton Kutcher, James Bond, aka Daniel Craig, T.I., Usher, yes, I said T.I., who's still currently married to Tiny, who took on her children. So is T.I. a simp too, my nigga? You gonna walk up to T.I. and call him a simp? I dare one of you niggas to walk up to T.I. and call him a simp. See what happens to you in Atlanta. See, you niggas are foolish, but you're not stupid, though. Diddy's going to die alone. Yep, Diddy's gonna die alone. Yeah, they call real men simps. What? These niggas, man. God forbid a black man love his wife, but let a black man say he's afraid to lose a Becky who hasn't accomplished anything, bear what Sierra has, and watch them shame the same black man not say a word. Absolutely. Niggas act like, and I Am Verbal said this. Let me put her channel link in the description, because these talking points, she said a lot. And I don't want to say these talking points as if it was just my original thought, because these talking points were not just my original thought. I have to credit her where the credit is due. Put her link in there. But these niggas, she says, acts like Sierra was just homeless on the side of Oceans Drive or Sunset Boulevard waiting to be saved. Sierra was a multi-millionaire and a successful pop artist. She didn't need to be saved. She was doing fine. And she wouldn't have dated any of you ignorant buffoons either, my Negroid. Make sure you subscribe to I Am Verbal's YouTube channel. I'm putting here. Once again, if you're just now joining, we've covered a little bit of the topic at hand. We had the giveaway earlier. GTJ Rob, I believe his name is. You are the winner of the giveaway. If you are in the comments or the live stream, make sure you go connect and message at Unique Boutique Candles on Instagram to claim your prize. Huge thank you and shout out to the contributors of this channel. Thank you so much, Trisha, for your contribution. I just saw it. Thank you so much, Trisha, for your continued contributions and support. I have to update Trisha's name on the scrolling wheel that you just see scrolling past you right now. Trisha has been a huge supporter of the channel. Y'all are the reason that we are stepping up in quality, that the message is getting out, the subscribers are getting out. Y'all are solely responsible for that. I thank you, and I can't thank you enough. Not to mention, she's 10 even on Kevin Samuel scale. Right. Sierra could get any guy she wanted to, no questions asked. And you know what's crazy? You know what's absolutely wild about this is Negroids call Russell Wilson a simp, right? Meanwhile, and I'm going to show this to you. I'm going to hold on. Let me just show you how twisted and demented and evil these Negroids are. I'm going to play you part of I Am Verbal's stream, and I want you to hear it from their mouths themselves that they would have no problem impregnating the wife or the girlfriend of the same nigga that they're calling a simp. They admit it themselves. Let me show you this. You can't make this up. You just can't make this up. So this is the situation where they're talking about Lori Harvey, right? She's with Michael B. Jordan right now, and all of them are throwing shade at Michael B. Jordan because he's a simp for being with Lori Harvey, who was with Future, who was with this, who was with that. Well, listen to these men talk about Lori Harvey and what they would do to Lori Harvey if they've been given a chance. Once again, this is from I Am Verbal's YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Her content is dynamic, and it is passion. So
every time, bro. I'm telling man, cream pie every time.
That's some action, bro.
Man, I went, man. I never pull out on that girl, man. I swear I would. That motherfucker. Woo!
See, man, the best thing for black women, sister Afro, nigga.
So if you just heard that right there, this black man said I would never pull out on that whatever Negroid reference he used, Negroid metaphor. He literally told you himself that he would not pull out of Lori Harvey, but somehow Michael B. Jordan's a simp for being with Lori Harvey. Make that make sense. So it's okay for him to impregnate Lori Harvey, but Michael B. Jordan better not. It's okay for him to impregnate Sierra, but Russell Wilson is a simp for impregnating Sierra. You see the hypocrisy there? This is the manosphere. It's okay for you, for me, but not for you. I may not make a lot of money, but I'm different. I'm different. You need to worship me because I'm different. Derek Gordon said, only real men raise other niggas' kids. Derek, if you want to hop on the stream, you're constantly uh, going against what I say. If you want to hop on the stream, you are more than welcome. Notice I never said, Derek Gordon, that only real men raise other niggas' kids. But once again, you Negroids are unable to have a balanced method or train of thought. It's either one way or the other for you Negroids. You can rewind this entire stream. You will never hear me say that only real men raise other men's children. You and I both know that that's not the case. But of course, if it doesn't play into your mind, if it doesn't play into your point of view or perspective, then you will manipulate my words into being what you said or what I said. You'll manipulate my point of view so that it fits your narrative. Of course, not only real men raise other niggas' children. That doesn't make any literal sense, Derek Gordon. But once again, your small-minded thought processes don't lend themselves over to normal rational computation of human psychology and of actual decent contribution of black men to the black community. Derek Gordon is the embodiment of a black manosphere Negroid. Welcome back, Loren.
Hey.
It's always good to have you on here. What did you have to add directly to this conversation that we're having right now?
So the first, because I remember that whole thing with the lawyer that when it first happened, and I had like a lot of like thoughts on that before, because this is the thing that I see most often, especially from educated men and men that are doing something and making money. They will go do what other races of men commonly do. They'll go get a degree, they'll go to college, they'll get a job, and they act like they just solved world hunger or cured cancer or cured HIV or something like that. But I would say to that, the guy who got the law degree or whatever, the law firm that he is going to work in, he should take a look around at his peers. Who are your peers there? Because whoever your peers are, that's your competition. It's not black women. I guarantee you that. The other men that are there, those are the ones who I guarantee you're going to be the only man there that probably looks like you. You're going to be a token in a sea full of people that do not look like you, in a sea full of men that do not look like you. So
Right.
These other men commonly go to school and get educated, and they don't feel the need to make a big deal about it. Because why? Because that's what men are supposed to do. That's
right.
Why. And
yeah,
why don't men understand that?
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Negroids go to college and get an education, and they feel like they won the lottery, or they feel like, I don't know, they feel like they work for NASA or something. My nigga, you're doing what an adult is supposed to be doing. Congratulations. You have not changed the world, my Negroid. It's absolutely incredible. Loren, I'm going to put you on mute just because there's a little bit. I want the audio quality to be perfectly as good as I can get it. And to have people who aren't talking on mute seems to be the best way to do it. So when you are ready, you can unmute yourself and interrupt me whenever you want. All right.
Okay.
All right. Stempitis, welcome to the stream. Before I address your direct remark, I want to read this. Russell Wilson was dating a white woman, and black men didn't call him a simp when that was happening. Only with black women, they call him a simp. Black men uphold internalized racism. Right. Magnificent One. Black men are the sole purveyors and pushers of current modern day white supremacy, who they claim to always suffer at the hands of white men and consequently black women as well. I've literally heard black men in the manosphere tell me and say to me that black women are responsible for upholding white supremacy in the year 2021. I kid you not. I've heard this before. This is one of their talking points, that black women are the modern progressors of white supremacy. Huh? Stempitis, welcome to the stream. Your comment, I appreciate you for actually hopping on, unlike Derek Gordon, who has stuck around for the past, I don't even know how many streams now, just to hide behind the keyboard. You will have your time to speak as much as you want. I won't interrupt you. Nobody will interrupt you. I just want to read your comment really quickly. Once again, I'm not sure if you can acknowledge that I said this, but that I didn't say this, but I never said that taking care of someone's kids. Well, hold on a second. I did say this. Taking care of someone's kids. Oh my God, this is my first day speaking English. Jesus, let me slow down. Your comment said, so taking on someone with kids makes them a real man, question mark, question mark. Guess I'm not a real man then. No, not necessarily taking on someone with kids, Stampitis. That doesn't make them inherently a real man. But it is a quality that a real man, in Russell Wilson's case, shows. All right? I'm not saying that all stepfathers are good stepfathers, because we know that's not the case. We've heard a lot of horror stories about stepfathers or step whatevers or adoptive fathers or whatever it might be who have abused children and this and that. So no, of course, not every stepfather is a real man or a true masculine figure role in the child's life. But Russell Wilson's case is an exemplary example of a good man, a real man, who is ultimately needed in the Black community, because a lot of kids are born into single parent households. So Russell Wilson in this case, yes. Now, whether or not you choose to be a stepfather, that's your choice. But at the same token, you can't go around insulting a multimillionaire athlete with no criminal conviction that I know about, who takes care of children, who calls another man's child his son, out of a failed relationship with a Negroid who goes around constantly impregnating and spreading diseases to multiple women, who brings and downtrods the Black community, a failure. That is evil. Do you understand that, Stampitis?
Yes, I do. I do. First of all, I want to thank you for having me on your show again.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
Not a problem, man.
The only thing I will say with that is, like, why should someone of Russell Wilson's status like be with somebody like that when he could have whoever he wants? Like, he's achieved something that very, very few men, especially men of color, will ever achieve. So it's like, she should be worshiping the ground that he walks on. She really should be. She should consider herself very fortunate that she would ever even get someone like that, because you said that she was a multimillionaire, very successful. That doesn't really matter when it comes with women, especially the older that they get. So, and then I tuned in on the later half of your broadcast. So if you said a bunch of things that I missed, I apologize. I wanted to bring up when you were talking about, like, when Black men achieve certain things, they think they cured world hunger. Well, if it's harder for someone else to do it due to systematic things, shouldn't they have more credit for doing that said thing when it's easier for others to do it, when lanes are opened up for others, especially white people? But I'm not going to talk about other minorities, but when it comes with Black men in particular, like, we're not encouraged to do, like, certain, like, you brought up the lawyer with the law degree. I don't know who you're referencing, but I'm gonna go with that. Like, this guy got a law degree and I guess he thinks he's a shit, right? He probably had to work twice as hard to get it. He probably wasn't encouraged by family members or whomever, like a white man or an Asian man.
Well,
or
let me
a
stop.
Hispanic man.
Let me stop, because I want to address a few talking points, and then I'll let you continue. Now,
Okay.
I can tell you. Let's just go with your points. Let's just go with your points. On the first talking point, Sierra should worship the ground he walks on. From a human perspective, that's what we call narcissism. Okay, do you understand what narcissism is?
Yes.
So narcissism, just for people who don't understand, is the feeling that you are superior and that you should dominate for whatever irrelevant or relevant fact lends you to your superiority. That's pretty much what I would consider narcissism to be. It's that you are the king and that all of your servants must be indentured servitude, or else you'll chop off their head. And I can tell you that most narcissistic people don't typically fare well in relationships. I can tell you that much. Most women, guys say that women like assholes and this and that, but most of the time, if a guy's really an asshole, a girl's probably going to either cheat on him or leave him, right? Let's just be honest, okay? No girl's just going to stay with the guy forever who is constantly an asshole or a narcissist. At some point or another, she's going to say, okay, I'm done crying. I'm probably going to leave this Negroid. That's just how it goes. And so that's what I have to say about that. As far as her wealth not mattering, I'm not sure where that stands. I know this is a talking point that Black women's education doesn't matter for a Black man and this and that, but I can tell you that it does matter. And here's why it does matter. Sierra is what we call an exception, okay? And so ultimately, we can't apply necessarily her to most of the Negroids in the manosphere. But most Negroids in the manosphere don't make enough money to support a woman like Sierra and children. Okay. It just doesn't happen. Kevin Samuels always says this, is that, well, you're probably going to have to work because most black men only make $40,000 a year. So in the case of a woman having money, it absolutely matters.
But let me ask you this. Do you think you're comparing her to like average people? Do you think her money matters to someone like Russell Wilson or someone on Jay-Z status or someone on, do you think her money matters to those kind of people?
Obviously, it doesn't matter as much. But what I'm trying to say is this, even on their level, Sierra is equally yoked with Russell Wilson. Do you understand that?
I understand.
So you say that Russell could get any girl he wants. Well, Russell Wilson picked her. A grown man made his decision. Why are you so pressed on the decision that Russell Wilson made? Why does it keep you up at night?
I'm personally not pressed about it. I don't really.
You're asking a question. So why does this question seem to have any sort of value or integrity to you? Why did you feel the need to tell me that Russell Wilson could get any girl in the world, and essentially putting yourself in a dissatisfied position with the woman that another grown man decided to pursue and be happy with and marry with for years now?
I guess like I don't really have no personal, but if I were to look into it, I would be dissatisfied because I feel like
he
deserves way better than that.
He deserves way better than that. But if he's happy and he feels like he's winning, who are you to tell him that he deserves better? And I'll say it to you like this. When I was in LA, I saw a lot of homeless people. I would talk to some of the homeless people, and they were the happiest people in the world. If you're happy, I'm happy. Who do I, as a human being, what right do I have to tell that homeless person that you need to be doing better for yourself? If they are truly, go ahead, Lauren.
I wanted to ask you, you know the saying, beauty is in the eye of the beholder?
Right.
You know, value and what somebody deems as valuable is also their own definition. So perhaps to you, a millionaire woman is not good enough, and you wouldn't have chosen that if you were in Russell Wilson's shoes. But I feel like there's a lot of men who are not in Russell Wilson's shoes at all in any way, shape, or form, can't even afford his shoes, telling him what he needs to pick and what's not good enough for him. I think that's crazy.
Right.
If you were even halfway financially, maybe I could take that a little more seriously.
Not halfway financially. We're talking about a millionth of the way financially to what Russell Wilson is. Russell Wilson has net worths of hundreds of millions of dollars. So he's experienced women. I put it to you like this, and I'm not trying to disrespect you, Stan Pitus. I just feel very passionately about this. Now, Nia X said something which I want to kind of really reflect on. You do sound like a motherly figure, right? Where a mother is talking to her son saying, you deserve better. You should have this. You should have that. You should do this. You should do that. I get it, Mom. I get it. Okay. Look, my parents didn't want me to do YouTube because they didn't see much success in it. But fast forward to now, and it's like, okay, they understand a little bit why I'm doing YouTube now. We had 1,000 subscribers special. My parents called me, my sisters called me. They were all happy. Congratulations, man. Proud of you. Right. And so, but they didn't have the knowledge, the forehand knowledge, the background knowledge of operations of YouTube. I knew the potential. Okay. And so it was on me to say, you know what? I'm happy doing this. And I see worthwhile substance in doing this. That was my decision as a man to show my mother that I think and I place value in this. And what Lorenz said, I think, is a great point. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I had a Mini Cooper. I love my Mini Cooper. My ex-girlfriend hated my Mini Cooper. It didn't matter. It's my Mini Cooper. When she rode in it, she had a pretty good time. She grew to like it. You know what I mean? So that's a huge point of contention I have. And I think one last thing you said, I wanted to address as well. I can't remember exactly what you said before I stopped you. I have a horrible memory, but continue going really quickly, Stan Pitus.
Well, I'll kind of recap you. I was addressing when you were talking about black men feel like they cured, or actually, I think the lady on your panel actually said it. Black men feel like they cured world hunger or caused cancer when they do things that other types of men do, but you got to take into accountability that it's much more difficult for the black man to achieve the quote unquote same thing that other men do. And in a lot of cases, it's much easier. The path opens up for them. I've actually seen it. So when I was in the military, like how a white guy can easily be advanced to like a petty officer or chief, versus the black man had to work a lot harder to get the same thing. So I can see why, like, as a black man, you would feel like, well, hey, you need to treat me like such and such because I achieved this. And why a white man might look at it like, well, it's no big deal, I achieved it. You didn't have to work hard to do it. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
go ahead, Lauren. No, go ahead.
Okay, so here's what I want to say about that, because it's not that I don't understand. I would never say he didn't do anything that great. He went to law school. I have a couple of friends who went to law school and went through the whole entire process. Just the application to get in is nerve-wracking.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't take away from the accomplishment, but this is another sort of one of those things that's like, it's kind of like in the eye of the beholder. Maybe to you, and coming from your perspective, it's something that is greater, but to the rest of the world, it is common. It's a common thing. Plenty of people go. And I understand that it's easier for some and it's more difficult for others. But you just I just feel like he looks a little strange, acting like he's doing something that no one else does. Like, who does he think works at the law firm he's going to be working at? A bunch of other men who did the same exact thing that he did.
A bunch of other likely white men, right?
Yeah. Yes, other races of men, but that's exactly my point. These other people come and they do this all the time, and if anything, that should be like humbling. Like, you should be grateful to be in that position, and you shouldn't then put yourself above a woman. Like, you're a man and you accomplish something that's great, but how does that now make you greater than a black woman? That's the part that that's the part that I do not. That's the part that doesn't make sense.
Hold on, the person that you're referencing, help me to the speed. Did he put himself over black women, or like what's the deal?
So yeah, he basically said, because I tapped into this higher level of society by getting a degree, I am now the prize. Those were his exact words.
And make no mistake about it, he doesn't have a law degree right now. He has a Juris Doctorate, which is it's a type of law degree. So he didn't graduate from law school, but you have to have a JD in order to get through law school, right? So he's still making a median salary between $40,000 to $50,000. Most likely the high end was $74,000, and he's ready to throw himself a party like it's 1999, right? And I want to go back to this point that you had, Stampitis, about it being harder to graduate from college because of, I guess, white supremacy. It's still going back to the same victim conquered mindset that black men in 2021 carry with them. Like my mans, I've said this and I'll keep saying it. White people want you to go to college now. There are even degrees. I mean, not degrees. There are scholarships that you can get just for the sole fact that you're black and from the hood. There are grants that you can receive for the sole fact that you're black and from the hood. The reason that black men don't educate themselves as much as black women do, and I know the argument is going to be, well, white men don't either. That doesn't matter. White men own 95% of America. The reason that black men don't educate themselves to the point or the amount that black women do is simply because they don't want to. They just don't want to, bro. Nobody's stopping black men with a figurative or a literal gun saying, you better not go to college, Negroid, or you're going to get it. Nobody's stopping black men from doing anything like that, bro.
Well, who raises the vast majority of black men in America today?
Who raises? Black women, right? Black women.
Yeah, I'm just asking. Who do you think raises them?
Here's my thing. Black women out-educate black men, right?
Yes.
So if we use your same reasoning, the more educated black woman is raising the black man who is less educated.
Yes.
So if they're being raised by the more educated figure primarily, why are they deciding to educate themselves less than black women are?
Because those same black women are also raising black women as well.
What?
There are ways you're making the argument that the educated black women are just raising boys. They're raising boys and girls, and
Okay,
they're
but no,
elevating women. They're not elevating the men.
Oh, okay. So they're telling their daughters to go to college, but telling their sons not to go to college. Essentially, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, or you help me out. How would you explain it then?
Well, I'm trying to get you to understand that your logic and reasoning, if we use your logic and reasoning, is fundamentally flawed. Okay, for instance, if if my dad's in the NBA, like Russell Wilson's dad's in the NFL, there's a high chance that his son could have a desire and succeed in the NFL. Why? Because his father already has the personal network and connections to get him and to train him in the way that the child should go, right? That's kind of naturally how a parental role goes. We typically are, to some extent, extensions of our parents, typically, for the most part, in a general sense. So if more black women are educated than black men, and we use those same principles, then why are the black men not being as educated? Obviously, if the women are educated and believe in education, I don't know any black woman or any educated person that would tell their son, oh, you don't need to go to college, but daughter, you need to go to college. You need to go to college. Son, you can do whatever you want. I don't see how that could be happening in the same household. I think a mother would say, all of my kids need to go to college, right? I think that that's pretty much a fair assessment or a fair,
I think initially that they do. I see your point. I think initially they do, but they kind of coddle their sons and raise them, for lack of better terms, to be bitches, really. And they don't have that go-getter type of mentality. That's what I really think.
Right. Okay, so we'll keep your point there. Once again, it is the black woman's fault. I understand that that's a main talking point in the.
Well, I mean, who's running the community? Who's running it? Who do you think's running the community?
Not the men, and that's the problem. So I'm glad you said that.
Right, but so whose fault should it be?
Black men, the leaders.
Who's all right? At the end of the day, it is black men's fault because we're not leading.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. If you want to be a leader, then you need to run your community, period. For the simple fact that you have no control of your community, that is also your direct reflection of the inadequacy that you generally, because I can tell that you're an educated man, so this might not necessarily specifically relate to you, Stampitis, but generally, it's a reflection of the inadequacy of leadership and nurtureship and providership, if that's a word, just take it for now, that black men have given to black women. The reason that women are quote unquote masculine now and don't want to follow black men is because, just like this lawyer said, let me bring up this article again. This lawyer said this. He's not a lawyer. This JD accredited guy said this. And I don't know if these numbers are true. And Mocha Mommy, I'll let you go really quickly. Stampitis, prepare, because Mocha Mommy's going to come with it.
Okay, I'll mute myself.
Okay, go ahead, Stampitis. Definitely. All right, let me share this page again with you, Stampitis, just because I know you haven't seen it earlier. Once again, everybody joining, thank you so much. This is out of the words of a black mouth, okay? It's out of the words of a black mouth. A black mouth. Jeez, that sounded racist, right? Welcome, Black Women's Sisterhood. Just give me 1 second. Black women typically don't want to date down and prefer to have a black man that is on the same playing field as her or higher. Well, statistically, only 7% of black men are professionals. Let me tell you something. I've seen this. I worked at the airport. I've given the numbers, and I think it's less than 7%, to be honest with you, just being completely honest. Out of every 100 white men that came into the restaurant that I served at, one of them, or maybe two of them, were black that flew on the airplane. It was all business people. Now, what you said before this, black women don't want to deal with a black man who's gay, down low, has baby mama issues, has a felony conviction, record in jail, which collectively is a large percentage of our race. Unfortunately, as statistically, 37% of black men are in jail, while 1/3 of black men have some form of criminal record. So this isn't the reason that they aren't educated, Stampitis, is not because they don't want to be educated. It's because they're fucking up. That's just the honest truth. They're fucking up. With this massive criteria that black women don't want in dating a black man, they have essentially drastically limited. I've said that 2 times in a row now. I can't believe that. The dating pool of viable black men that the majority of black women are currently after, which means everyone doesn't get picked. And statistically, 70% of black women go unmarried. That's what he says. So he claims that black women are responsible for essentially drastically limiting the dating pool. It's not the black men that are getting themselves locked up, that are killing each other, that have driven property value down in record lows amongst all their communities in America. Of course, it's not their fault. It's black women's fault for wanting a man of actual viable resource, integrity, and fortitude to provide for her. It's once again, it's black women's fault. Black women they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't. And Stampitis, to your point, even when black women say, you know what, we're tired of dealing with the black man, even when they say, you know what, we're going to leave you alone, since you hate us so much, you still berate them and claim that they're self-hating black women who want to see the destruction of the community. Meanwhile, out of a black man's mouth, he tells you that Negroids are locked up at historically high rates from no other person or reason other than their own personal choices. Welcome, Mocha Mommy, Black Women Sisterhood. You're welcome to speak after that. And Sampitis, you can speak after they get done speaking. Loren, you can interject after Black Women Sisterhood speaks. Mocha Mommy, go ahead.
Thank you, Stampitis, for just volunteering to give your opinion, because I think it's really important that people are honest with what they think.
Definitely.
So we can have a good discussion about it. But as far as what I've noticed when it comes to, working in higher education, you can tell a black man something, but ultimately it's going to be his decision, right? You can say what it is you want. Like, for instance, when I was a nursing instructor, right, I was saying like, hey, along I-35 between Waco and San Antonio, they're going to build about 10 different hospital systems over the next, 7 different hospitals over the next 10 years. Allied Health is where it's going to be at, right? If you're going to plan on staying on this I-35 corridor, I can say that, right? But if you don't hear me, well, this heifer want me to blah, 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 and this heifer wants me to blah, 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 right? Well, I got that a lot. Like, I got a lot of pushback for just telling them the truth, right? But also, sometimes when they hear us say things, like, we can say something, but you guys hear something different. Like, there were certain public schools, if a black man came out of a community college, and the same thing with Hispanic and the same thing with black women, if they came out of certain schools, I would say, hey, if you came out of this public school, chances are you're going to need some academic foundation classes, right? Before you get into college algebra, before you start getting into chemistry, before you start getting into the prerequisites for any of the allied health majors. If I say that to them, oh, you trying to call me stupid? No, I'm not trying to call you stupid. I'm just saying, by nature of the zip code, you're at a disadvantage than from someone at a different zip code. But automatically, because it's coming from a black woman, you take it really defensively. But then when you would see the black women graduate, when you see the black women get jobs, when you see them get hiring bonuses, oh, you hooked Shaniqua and them up with a job, you hooked Shaquana and them up with a job. I'm like, that's because Shaquana and them did the work and they passed. So I'm not giving anyone anything. And so it's almost like, just by you being a woman in the community, automatically you just get so much pushback for just telling the truth. So no one's trying to say that they're not dysfunctional black mothers, right? But what I am trying to say is that even if you just talk to other cultures of black men, it got to the point where if there was a black man in any of my classes, the women would automatically ask him where he was from, because they automatically assume that he was not African American, that he had to be from someplace in the diaspora. So I just wanted to just give you like some type of context. We do tell them to get educations. We do give them leg up. Like, so if I say like, hey, Hospital System X is going to open a cath lab in the next 9 months, get your applications in by January. So by May, you guys are in position. Well, you trying to tell me what to do? Okay, never mind. But then all of a sudden, half-ass, day late, dollar short, now you want me to hook you up with a job. And when I don't, because you're unlicensed and unqualified, now all of a sudden I'm a gatekeeper and I'm holding you back. You see how that works? I just feel like you said, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If you give them notice that, I mean, we're not gatekeepers, and I hate the term when they say educated black women are gatekeepers. We're not gatekeepers. What we are front desk clerks. We can give you a time and a date when your key is going to be good. And if you don't take that information, guess what? You're locked out. Like, think about it. 65% of all new jobs this decade is going to need some sort of post-secondary education. And most of the businesses that are starting need some sort of skill. Like, that's You know what I mean? So it's great. You start your Shopify site. It's great that you guys are getting stock. That's great. And I applaud that. But you're not getting anything near what these guys who are going to be IT consultants are getting. You're not getting anything near the employee stock options that some of these guys are getting, right? Because you remain uneducated. So that's the point that I want to make. Like, we can't win. If we're educators, we can't win. If we're professionals, we can't win. But then if we are uneducated and we're broke, then you guys are ridiculing us. So I just wanted to say that. And thank you, Stampitis, for just your participation.
Thank you for bringing that up. I do have a couple things to say to that. I think from what you're telling me, you encourage when they're coming to you for a job. What I was kind of referring to is when they're being raised. So, and then the other thing I kind of wanted to bring up, which feel free to correct me, I can almost bet you money you don't speak to everyone the same. I guarantee you don't say the same thing that you would say to a man that you would to a woman. Am I correct? Or maybe she muted it. Can you hear me? Hello?
Mocha, are you there? She about to stepped away.
Okay, well, my point is
I'm not sure what your point is on that one. I mean, what
she's saying is, well, I encourage everyone, this, that, and the fourth. What I've seen, I'm just going by my own personal anecdote. Like, I had a black guidance counselor. She would actively go out of her way to make sure that black women got the better scholarships and got more information than when it came to black men. I saw with my own eyes. That's my point, what I was trying to make with that. But the initial thing I wanted to say was, she's speaking from a point, like, when it comes to being a gatekeeper from the jobs. I'm talking about, like, before you get to her, right? I'm talking about in the home when you're raising the kids. That's what I'm talking about. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay. Well, I'll never refute somebody's personal experience because I don't know. As JoJo once said, you have your own bias, and maybe you've experienced something in life that leads you to believe that, sometimes I guess that happens. Sometimes you've experienced something and that just changes the way that you feel about a situation permanently. And ultimately, nothing that I say or do can change that. Now, whether or not that's the general rule or that happens most of the time, that black women only look out for black men. The black women only look out for other black women and not as much for black men. I don't know. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you're wrong. I wasn't there. And so I'll just accept that has happened. But once again, at the end of the day, are you just going to give up because you didn't have the same opportunity in life? You're just going to stop? I mean, as a man, you're just going to throw your hands up in the air and say, oh, it's not fair. I'm going to just go home.
No, of course not. That's not what a real man would do.
Of course not.
And to JoJo one,
that's my bigger point.
Right. And you're right. I agree with that. And to JoJo one, everyone on this channel has their own bias. So what's your point? Like, because mine is different than yours. Like, it's
not necessarily bias if it's facts. What I like to speak to is facts. In this case, the black man is the worst race of man in America, socioeconomically and as far as socio status goes. That's just a fact. So some will look at it and say it's bias, but if we look at the numbers, if we just look at our communities, if we look at the desirability, you and I can both agree that black men, by and large, ain't about shit. So it's biased to some extent, but it's also truth. You know what I mean?
I think it's true. I've never denied that. I think it's true by and large.
Yeah. But I hear what you're saying, Stampitis. I just want you to really be on a level ground when you start rethinking these issues, because I feel like, you're fair and you're critical in thought. Now, Mocha Mommy had something to ask you. Go ahead, Mocha Mommy.
Okay, I totally get what you're saying, what your experience with a black educator. But from my experience being a black educator, like when I walked away from the hospital system to be an educator, I took a humongous pay cut. And how many black women educators take humongous pay cuts just by nature of them choosing education? Like going that quote unquote give back to the community mindset. How many black teachers do you constantly see that are taking lower rates because they are deciding to teach in their areas? So how many times are we walking away from like lucrative professions to quote unquote give back to the community? How many black women MBAs do you know who are working for not-for-profits? Like, we're constantly sacrificing for this community. I mean, think about it. I'm a nurse. My older sister's a doctor. Like, I'm a nurse practitioner. My sister's a doctor. She makes 4 times my salary. And we both went to college pretty much almost the same amount of time. But
right. My mom's an RN, so I know how tough you had it.
Yeah,
Really
so
quickly,
she chose a more lucrative, and that's not what most Black women do.
really quickly, I want to bring this point to the comment up that It's Whatever had, and this is an absolutely irrefutable point and a great point. I didn't think about this, but Stampitis, you claim that the reason that Black men aren't as educated as the Black women is because they're coddled by Black women, right? By
Yes.
and large. Well, It's
Yes.
Whatever. If we use that same, now I know we're arguing semantics right here, right? And I'm kind of picking apart and things of that nature. But if we want to use your logic, by and large, if you think that Black women coddle Black men, then how is it that they're the gatekeepers, but they coddle them at the same time? This is a great question.
Well,
Ultimately,
it's
we know that
whatever.
can happen.
It's whatever. That's actually not a great question, because to answer your question, they don't do it at the same time. They coddle their sons, and when they're at the jobs, because of the resentment of Black men doing, F boy stuff, they resent them and keep them out of the job. So to answer your question, they don't do it at the same time.
But if you're coddling a child growing up, why would you resent him at the job? I don't understand that.
You wouldn't view or as a woman, or as any person, you're not going to view your child as some strange man. You're not going to view
But
your
he's
son
still
the
a
same.
Black man, a Black child at one point, though, right? As a Black
That is
woman,
true. That is true.
if they coddle their children, like for instance, mothers are always going to be mothers, man. Like if you're out at the store and something happens, a mother's going to be careful, whatever it might be. I mean, they're always going to be mothers. They're nurturing naturally and complex. So, if you're going to agree that most women, Black women, coddle Black men, then I don't see how it could just flip for the sole reason being that they're now in a job environment. If they coddle Black men from birth, then they should also be coddling them when they're getting ready to hit the workplace as well. They're not just going to be like,
I guess what I'm saying is what I'm saying is Black women raise the very men that they despise and hate. That's pretty much my point. They're raising the very men that they hate and despise.
okay, so they love them as kids, but then hate them when they grow to men, just because they're now Black men for the sole reason that they're Black men. That's the argument you're going to stick with?
Not just because of that, but because of the individual experiences that they have. I have my baby daddy ain't crap, or this, that, and the fourth. The usual rhetoric. So when they look at a Black man, they view them as they see like, oh, well, he's just another one. They don't respect them.
But if that's the case, then why would they coddle and nurture them, like you said, or go easier on them as kids? I mean,
I'm saying, okay, would you agree that a small child is very different from a man?
In some respects, yes, of course, a child is going to be different from a man. Yes, naturally. But
do you think that women view men and children differently?
Of course.
So that's what I'm saying. To answer It's Whatever's question, they don't do it at the same time. When they're children, you view them a different way. When they're older, you view them a different way. That's all I'm saying.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. He's contradicting himself again, because think about it. If you raised a child with all of this love that he claims that the mother did, then that wouldn't explain why would he grow up to hate Black women or to have all of these problems. To his own admission, the mother raised him as a child with love.
I think that's a great point. I mean, ultimately, this Stampitis, it's somewhat of a lacking or a moot talking point that you're attacking this from, but I know that you have.
I think you guys are viewing it as mute because you're essentially saying, oh, well, if you raised him, why would you hate him later? We're not talking about the same individual. You guys are putting it as if I'm talking about the same individual.
You said that by and large, most Black women coddle their children. If we use your talking points, this is what you said. We're just speaking in generalities. If we use your talking point, if they're being coddled, aka spoiled is another word for coddled,
right.
aka treated better, or treated lighter, or with less punishment, or
right.
I don't know, whatever it might be, less severe reactions or consequences to them making bad choices. If we're using your logic, then what Black Woman Sisterhood said, it directly conflicts with what you're trying to say now. I mean, if we use your logic, then if they've been raised easier by Black women, then they're not going to hate that when grow up or grow older, a spoiled rich kid isn't going to hate his parents because he was spoiled rotten. He might be
A
spoiled, but
lot
he's
of
not going to
spoiled
hate
rich
his
kids
parents.
kill their parents. A lot of them kill their parents, and they turn out to be nothing like their parents were. They turn out to be bums in society.
Can I please ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I really would like to know why do men think that Black women don't want the same thing that other races and women have, which is men that are leaders and providers and present in their community? Why would we want to stop you or block you or stop, whatever in any kind of way? What would we get out of that? And this does not make any sense. Like, your argument does not make any sense at all. Like, how are we stopping you from getting jobs and going to school and bettering yourself, your own self? How is that our fault again? Because I'm missing it.
Okay, I'll answer the first part of your question. You said, why do Black men think that you guys don't want the same thing? I personally think that all women want the same thing, but the average Black man thinks that you guys don't want that because you guys don't display signs of wanting that, which again kind of goes back to being our fault because we're not the leaders. But you guys display masculine traits, so that doesn't say, hey, I want a leader, I want someone to take care of me.
Self-admittedly, if they do, because bro, I mean, if you can obviously listen to the women on this panel. Do you really catch any sense of masculinity from any of the women here?
No, I'm not. But I'm not talking about them personally. She said in general.
Well,
I don't
yeah,
catch that from any of them.
But even if we use your same reasoning, you self-admitted that the reason that they're masculine is because they have a lack of masculinity in their community. You just said that. So
right.
So
I'm not disagreeing with what all of what you're saying.
It still
right?
falls on Black man, Stampitis.
Right. I'm not saying that. I'm answering her question. Right. I agree with you. It does fall back on us. But I'm answering her question. She said, why do they think that? And I'm telling her why. Well, when you display masculine traits, that communicates to a Black man, oh, well, you must not want someone like me.
No, but that wasn't my question. My question was, why do Black men think Black women don't want them to be men? Why would I not want you to be a man?
I guess define what you mean. Define what you mean by a man.
Because you're saying things like, we stop you from getting jobs and we coddle you as children, and then we stop you and block you from getting jobs, and the counselor didn't look out for you in school and stuff like that. But I don't know, maybe I'm like I said, I don't know if that might have just been an anecdotal situation. I don't want to say if that's how it
was an anecdotal situation.
Okay, so but I'm saying overall in general, why would Black women just not want to see Black men succeed? And whatever way it means to be a man, to have, be the leader of something, to own things, to make money, why would Black women just not want to see Black men in that position?
To be honest with you, I don't know why, because it would help the community as a whole. But
so why? But
I think
you're saying that this is what we don't want to see you there. What I see, I'm tired of seeing. I say it all the time. Why are Black men not flocking to IT and tech? You should be flocking to that field in droves after school, after high school. That field is a high-paying field, and immigrants come over here and take full advantage. The Indian immigrants and the African immigrants come here and dominate the IT and tech field. And I do not see African American men in those fields. I've worked in corporate America for close to 10 years, and I can count on one hand how many times I've seen Black men in the building at all, doing something other than a menial job, like being a janitor or being a security guard. And I'm always thinking, why are the Black men always doing these jobs? Why don't they apply to the company and get inside the company? Because I'm here, they can be here too. So my question is, why would we not want to see you there? Why would I want to see you be a security guard or a janitor when you can be a manager or a marketing expert or something like that? Why would I not want to see that?
Like I said, I don't see why. Well, you said you, but I'm gonna go with as a whole. I don't see why Black women wouldn't want to see that. So I really can't even answer that, to be quite honest with you. I don't know why they wouldn't want to see that.
Well, Stampitis, you can't answer that because there's no logical reasoning for that thought process. And let me tell you something. when I had
women
25
aren't logical, man. They're not logical. Just to give
Please
you that
get this
hint.
dude. I'm done with this
All right,
dude.
But I'm sorry
I'll
to
have to
interrupt
stop
you. Go ahead.
I'll have to stop you there. I mean, we can't just claim that. We've heard nothing but logical reasonings on this panel, and so by and large, that's just not the case, man. And if we're being completely honest, most black men are far more illogical than women are, because what's happening is women are telling you exactly how they feel, and still at the same time, we're telling you exactly, and you're even self-admitting all of our points of contention with yours, saying that, yeah, you're right, this is it. But somehow still, you still stick by the same rhetoric and same talking points of the manosphere. So in my opinion, you are far more illogical and sensical reasoning than the women on this panel are, just to be honest with you, and so I'm
Well,
not trying to
I'm much more biased. That's why I can point out when you're right and with my opinion. You guys are one sided. I'm much more biased.
Well,
So
unfortunately, one-sided or other-sided, as long as the side that we're on is truth, then the side doesn't necessarily matter. And if you can agree that most of the stuff which you have heard and agreed with is truth, then that makes the side that we are on the more logical and sensical side, which you have agreed with most of the stuff we said. Now, you're biased because of an anecdotal instance that you've lived through. And so we get that. I understand that. However, your anecdotal evidence still, unfortunately, and fortunately in our case, does not prove the general rule. What I'm saying still reigns true. I get that you have a different point of view. I get stuff has happened to you. However, by and large, most men have not experienced the same issues with black women that you've experienced. First of all, mostly because most black men aren't educated to your level. So they'll never even have a black woman who's a guidance counselor to shun them out of college to begin with. All right, if we're being honest. But even if
right.
they've gotten to that level, the situation that you're talking about is so specific, is so off the beaten path, if you will, that most guys won't ever have the same situation of being held back for the simple fact that they're a black male and a black woman has authority over them. That's just not going to happen, man. And I know you can admit that. All right. So I get that
Yeah, I agree
yeah,
with most of what you guys are saying.
of course. But here's the problem. Even when we get you to agree, you still stand fast in your roots of nonsensical beliefs. And that's where we start to talk about illogical reasoning here. Is because when we tell you something that's logical, there's some sense of pride that you just can't shake. It's just like, okay, nah. It's like an internal battle that I have and that I can see with a lot of black men when I talk to them. Because the honest fact and the honest truth about the matter is you can't argue a lot of the points, man. You just can't, because it's based in solid reasoning. I get that. I get that. It's just it's the way it is. But even so, still there'll always be some sort of pushback. And ultimately, you're not doing anything but to further help prove to black women that they need to leave most black men alone. And so ultimately, you're only harming yourself, man. You're only harming yourself. And you give channels like these more reason to say, hey, you know what? Stop dating black men. Because no matter what we say to them, no matter how many numbers even their own black people admit to them being lacking in highest incrimination, least amount of money making, no matter how many times you agree to those same facts and numbers about just how detrimental black men are to their own community, still you will die on the hill of the Negroid manosphere without a minute New York second's thought. And that is disturbing, man. That's very disturbing. So 1 second, really quickly, I want to let JD speak. And then after JD speaks, Alexander Brandon, you're clear to speak. I'm going to put you on mute, Stampitis, just because it helps the audio a little bit. If you just want to interject, just make sure to unmute yourself, okay?
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, cool. JD, go ahead.
Hi, I made a few notes in regard to some things the gentleman on the panel said.
Sure.
I noticed this talking point in the manosphere that pretty much black women are to blame for everything. Black men seem to be the only group globally that doesn't understand the measure for manhood globally is men look at how the women and children in your community are faring. I don't know why that's such a problem. They don't blame women for anything. If things are not going well with the women and children, those men are seen as not being like true leaders, and it's a symbol of a failed patriarchy. Another thing I wanted to bring up was that Black men tend to say that the Black community is a matriarchy, which is false. It's actually a failed patriarchy. I wanted to bring that up. I've noticed a pattern in my lifetime with Black boys, and I don't know what it is that it's something about Black boys when they hit puberty, they begin to have a pack mentality and they cave into peer pressure in a different way than other boys, to the point that even if it's a two-parent household or they have proper guidance at home, they just do whatever they want to do anyway. And I've noticed it repeatedly. I can give an example too in real time. I have a girlfriend. She had a cousin that died when he was young, and his parents enforced all kinds of values in him. He was going to church on a regular basis. He hit his teens. He started running with the wrong crowd, and even his parent family repeatedly addressed it with him, and he didn't listen, and he ended up in a casket before he turned 18. So I'm tired of this thing that, everything is Black women's fault. I do think there's a lot of internalized misogyny in Black women, but it's not solely our fault. The parent that is absent, to me, in a lot of instances, is even more to blame, because that parent not being there and the woman having to overcompensate, it creates a lot of issues. And the children, regardless of gender, feel that void. That's why you have a lot of issues with children, especially with young Black girls. Sometimes we get sucked into the vortex that we deal with men because we have daddy issues, or when the father is not around for the son, or he doesn't have male role models around sometimes, or they're not quality male role models, there can be an issue with trying to figure manhood out if he can't figure it out at all. Another thing I wanted to address is I've noticed in the workplace with Black men, in varying work environments, they screw it up. And it's always tied to poor work ethic or sexual harassment. I actually think that sometimes when they claim Black women are gatekeeping and not giving them opportunities, we've had so many different jobs where we've seen that play out in real time. We don't want to take the risk of being associated with that. So we would rather take a risk with putting a sister on. I think that's a facet of it. And I mean, I guess that's kind of all I wanted to cover, but I'm getting sick of Black women getting blamed for everything. I myself, I don't have any children. I'm in my 40s. I've done proper pussy management. I know plenty of other Black women that have too, or if they didn't, they course corrected. I've noticed with Black boys and Black men, it doesn't matter how many sacrifices Black women, their Black mothers make for them, or how good of a lifestyle they have. Everything is always her fault. For instance, I saw online on social media and it blew my mind. This young man, his mother put him in private school. He had all these opportunities, all these hobbies, playing violin and whatever else. And he blamed his mother because the types of Black women he was approaching that didn't have the same interests as him and they weren't feeling him, he turned it into it being his mom's fault. Now, we don't have any backstory on that. He could be socially awkward. He could be a creep. He could be a weirdo. He might not be likable. He might not be a good conversationalist. He might not have any emotional intelligence, but somehow that's all his mother's fault. And what I'm saying with some of these points that I'm making, are any of them making sense to y'all?
Yeah, definitely. And what I want to add to it really quickly, JD, I think that was good. I'm gonna let a few others speak, so hold a few more points of contention. I'll put you on mute, but when you're ready again, and when we get back to you, make sure to unmute yourself.
Absolutely.
Thank you, JD. What I want to get to that and say is, Stampitis, this is the problem, and this is why I have a really tough time with this, is that, Stampitis, you're an educated Black man in the community. So essentially, you're one of the few Black men that we have. And just like the man on the thumbnail of this picture, we can't rely on an educated Black man like yourself to even go by and help the Black community, because already you've emotionally divested from your own woman. And so, just like in my earlier statements, or this lawyer that claims that he's the prize and that women should walk on the ground they walk on, this one-sided biasness that they seem to have, the decently economically fortified Black men in the community, Black women still have no chance with them because of the mindset that you have right now. So God could reign a Black woman into your life right now, but because of the one instance that you had with the Black guidance counselor that you feel affected your life for the rest of your life, every Black woman is doomed to follow. And that's not a logical way to go about life. For instance, if I'm driving and I get rear-ended by a truck it wouldn't make sense for me to just completely stop driving. Now, I might have fears of driving. I might be a lot more careful. I might decide to install dash cams in my car. I might decide to, I don't know, just not wait at any streetlights anymore and to turn or make a right every time I'm first at I don't know, whatever it might be. But to stop driving altogether, that's not logical reasoning, man. Just because one situation happened to you should not ruin the fate of every black woman in America. And right now you're making your talking point based off of one situation in life. Listen, man, bad stuff's going to happen to you in life, bro. Bad stuff happens, man. It's just the way it is. But you can't let one situation determine the outcourse for the rest of your God-given life, man. You gotta let it go at some point. You gotta say, okay, it is what it is. It happened. It sucks, but it's time to move on. I'm sure not everybody will do me that same way. Okay. That's your goal and your job as a human being. That's your goal specifically, moreover, as a man. And so we're losing black men like you who choose to already emotionally divest, but at the same token, a lot of black men who emotionally and racially divest have something against black women divesting from the men that already divested from the community to begin with, from the men that already don't earn the type of money that you possibly earn, from the men that don't speak the way or are educated the same level that you are at. But when they realize and they talk to you now and hear that this brother has completely left us and is completely in a different sphere than we are right now, how can they win? You don't want them to get with Pookie and Ray Ray, but you don't want to get with them either. You get upset when they have children and are single mothers, but at the same time, you mock them when they're in their 40s and were responsible with their vaginas, for a lack of a better term, with their womb, and chose not to have kids. Black women are damned if they do. They're damned if they don't. Black women can't win, bro. It's sad, more than anything. That's why I support black women leaving black men alone for the most part, because they have to either deal with Pookies and Ray Rays or they have to deal with illogical thinking, educated brothers like yourself and like the man that's on the thumbnail. They can't win, bro. They can't win. Damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Really quickly, I want to let Alexander speak, and then we'll go back to Loren, and then Stampitis, you can rebuttal what they had to say. Welcome back, Alexander. How have you been?
Oh, I've been good, man. I've been good, brother.
Hey, good, man. What did you have to add really quickly to the conversation at hand?
I feel like I actually agree with your and I'm sorry, miss. I forgot your name. I'm sorry.
It's Loren.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you and Loren on this because I basically I care about all women, so and the fact that all these men, even in every manosphere said they wouldn't date a single mother or how we say a 40-year-old or 30-year-old that actually didn't have kids. Now that is the problem that I have with the manosphere. Every single last one of them.
Right. Yeah, no, Alexander, you're right. It goes back to, and thank you for coming up, Alexander. I'll put you on mute really quickly. And make sure if you have anything else to say, make sure to come back, okay?
Oh, one more thing, man.
Go ahead.
It's whatever wanted to come on here, but me and her had a discussion about my story, and I said that I'm gonna have to start off small. So I'm going to be putting my stories either on manga tune or novel tune or Wattpad, whatever that app is. I just want y'all to know that.
All right, sounds good, Alexander. Well, I'll be waiting to hear your story, okay?
All right.
All right, Alexander. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. All right.
Okay.
Always good to hear from Alexander. If you would like to join the panel, Black Women Sisterhood, you're more than welcome to join. Let me put the link up really quickly. Fed, I don't want to kind of take this conversation or direction to another way, so I'm going to take you down off the panel for now. But maybe when we have a talking point that's of a bit more relevancy to you, you're more than welcome to join. So I see you in the background there. But I just want to take this down. I want to keep it specifically with black men right now. Not to say Fet that I don't. I'm racist or anything of that nature, but I want to keep it on topic for now. So I'm gonna take you down, but you're always welcome to join. Okay, so thank you so much. Black Woman Sisterhood, you are clear to ask your questions. Go ahead.
Oh yes. Okay. So sorry about that. I was having issues and I for some reason my web is acting up. But I
No
wanted
problem.
to be really quick. So I wanted to say I agree with a lot with what JD said. An important point I was going to kind of mention is that, in the Black community, we kind of believe a lot of facts that really are not as true as we think they are. So the first thing he stated was that who's raising these boys? Um, a lot of time, interestingly enough, we do have Black families and Black homes that does have the father still there. And so I shared a link to Black demographics, and they were saying that 43% of Black children are raised in a home with two parents. Now, those parents may not always be married, but nevertheless, they do have 43% of the Black children are raised in a home with a father, and so what we need to look at is that it's not always a matter of it being a single mother home. Sometimes it's just that the father, he just isn't a good dad or a good example to his children. And so I think that's something that your caller up here, I think his name is Stim, I don't know his name, but I think that's the point that he's leaving out. And so, if we start looking at our own lives, we'll see that a lot of these men were really raised in homes with a father, but that doesn't always mean that just because you have two parents that you're going to turn out to be um, a good example, or that you're even going to take your parents' advice or whatever the case may be. So I just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Really quickly before you go against Stampidus, I want to let Loren address any issues that she has. Loren, go ahead.
Yeah, that was a good point because I know a lot of kids. I used to be a teacher a long time ago, but I know a lot of kids have two parents in the home. So I do think sometimes even the media pushes this idea that every kid, every Black child, no one has a father, Black fathers don't exist, and stuff like that. And that's not true. In my reality, where I come from, I know a lot of Black fathers and a lot of people that were raised in two parent homes. Um, I know when my nephew comes to visit me, if he acts up, it gets a little too out of control, I know that I can call his dad, and his dad will put him straight again, no problem. So salute to Black fathers because I know that they're out there and they don't get enough credit. But the other thing that I definitely wanted to say was that this is something that I've noticed with Black men in particular. I don't know if other men are like this because I don't have a lot of experience with other men, but I will say with Black men in particular, they will take something that happened when they were 9 years old or 10 years old and walk around for 35 years and never get over it. They will blame society, they'll blame the white man, they'll blame women for the next 3.5 decades over something that happened when they was in grade school. And like I remember this episode of Iyanla Fix My Life where she was interviewing like a few Black men that don't date Black women. And I knew before any of them even spoke that they were all going to say something about their childhood. I just knew it was coming. And all of them said that. When I was a child, the girls teased me on the playground and they made fun of the way that I talked. Like I got everybody got made fun of before. Everyone had to like learn to stand up to a bully. Everyone had to like go through those growing up pains. I mean, I don't understand like you're like 40, when you're like 30 and 40 years old, how are you still like scarred by that? And how are you still blaming women for that? Like that's just, but yeah, I just wanted to say that. I think that a lot of Black men need to heal their issues. They need to heal their daddy wounds. They need to heal their bullied little boy inside of them. They need to heal whatever makes them feel less than or insecure. And if when they heal that, I think they'll just see the world so much clearer.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great point as well. Really quickly, I don't want to let Stampitis get drowned out. So before we have Psycho Candy as well as JD speak, Stampitis, did you want to address anything? I know a lot has been said, but go ahead.
I'll make it quick because I don't want to, I don't like taking up the show, and I really enjoy the show. I want to address a couple of things. Like, I'm not an anti-black woman. I'm actually with one. We have a child. We're still together. So I just wanted to point that out. Like, I'm reading some of the comments that you, I guess, post on the thing. Yeah, like, maybe I've come off that way, but I'm not. So I apologize if I come off that way. And I have no personal bias against anybody in this show. I think it's a great show. I did notice that JD actually even admitted some of the things that you guys were saying that were a farce. It was just in my mind. Like, she said that, well, we do it, we discriminate maybe a little bit because we don't want to be associated with it. So you're admitting that you do it, like, and then I might be missing a bunch of things. I'm trying to catch up because, like you said, a lot was said. I wanted to address what Loren said. I don't. You're saying like, oh, people hold on, or black men hold on to what happened to them in their childhood. I think that's an anybody thing. I don't think it's just exclusive to black men. Would we agree on that?
I would say no. I would say black men hold on to it in a much more in a way that makes it almost like not healthy. Like they bring it into the world. They bring it into relationships. They bring it as like, pain and trauma, and they don't heal from it. Everyone has past issues and stuff like that, but they don't. Black men especially do not heal from it. They take it everywhere they go like a bag with stuff inside of it.
You think black men are the worst at that? You really think that?
I said that, and I say that black men are like some of the least to handle. Are some of the least to handle it. They're the last one to like admit that that's what they're dealing with and go to therapy or just heal. Black men are the least to heal because black men are, in their minds, they're strong, they're proud black men, and to admit that you may have a past issue is hard for them because most of them are just so proud. So yes, I don't think black men can easily admit when they are dealing with past trauma and past hurt.
And really quickly, I want to add to that before you go on, Stampitis, and we let the others speak after you, is that even if we have a difference of opinion on this subject, where either black men take things more seriously or internalize things more to a higher degree, or black women do, or everybody does, at the end of the day, internalization still is negative, irregardless of what the race is, right? And so it doesn't matter which race does it more. If we decide to disagree or agree to disagree, we can't agree on the fact of the matter is that internalization still is detrimental and does not lead to positive results in any human being, period. So we can agree to that. And on that note, I want to just once again go back to, as a man, as a leader, it is more detrimental for you to have negative connotations and internalizations about your own people than it would be to be as a woman, because you are a leader. And so you as a leader cannot have that cloudy judgmental thought process that you want your women to follow behind. You have to be clear and level-headed. And so once again, it still goes back to holding men accountable for being men. We can't escape that. There's no victim mentality for you as a man, Stampitis, and I just can't let you go with keeping that victim mentality. If you're going to be a man, then you got to man up. All right. So I'm not saying, even if I disagree with Loren here, I'm still saying that as a man, once again, you have to be able to rationalize healthy in your thought process to get past and to get by certain things in life. Also, I'm glad that you're with a black woman. I am. I really am. I think that's great, right? I think that you might be able to do more and prove your point further if you start to maybe attack certain perspectives with referring to your woman and the successes or maybe the ideological norms that you feel that she breaks, that you're proud of her for, rather than trying to address black women and everything they do wrong. It sort of contradicts you saying, but hey, I love black women. I'm with the black woman, right? It doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like you're pointing out everything that's bad against black women, but you're with a black woman that doesn't represent everything that you're saying right now. You kind of get what I mean?
I guess I get it, but by that logic, I'm not allowed to critique black women because I'm with one.
No, not necessarily. I get that there are critiques, but if that was the case, if you're gonna let your yes be yes and your no be no, then your woman is a direct representation that everything that you said can't be 1000% true because you have personal experience, uh, you have a personal example that there are good women, that they're not all necessarily bad. And so what you're doing by arguing against logic that I have is you're essentially closing off the possibility for other black men that would listen to a conversation that you have. And it would shut the door on any chances that they had to look for a black woman, because if they listen to you speak without you ever acknowledging that you have a black woman, then they're going to think that all black women, based off of what you said, are evil, right? But the fact of the matter that an hour into the conversation, you finally mention you have a black woman is very crucial to what I'm saying right now. It shouldn't have taken an hour for you to say, hey, but I'm with a black woman. You've argued very adamantly on your talking points. And then for you to say, what, but I'm with one right now, that's somewhat is defeating to a certain extent of your talking points. Now, I get it. Of course, you have the reason and you have the ability to critique. That's natural. I've said that there are black things that black women need to work on as well. I get that. But everybody's got stuff to work on, okay? And I think it's healthy to present it from a rational and logical perspective, especially when you're already agreeing with a lot of things that we're saying, to let it also be known that, hey, there's a lot of good black women out there too. So if you're going to be rational about it, then go ahead and be right down the middle. Okay, but so far, 90%.
There's more good black women than bad black women. This is beside the comment that I want to come into, but like you can't sit there and judge one single book by a cover.
Well, it's especially when your woman is black. I mean, my God, it's kind of like bruh. I mean, bruh, you know what I mean? Now, if you were with a white woman, if you didn't like to date black women, then sure, go ahead, go off on all your talking points and tangents. But bro, your girl's black, man. I don't know.
You can flip the coin to the other side, and there's how many shitty white women can you come across? There's a ton of them.
Right. It's unhealthy to have that perspective, bro. Because at the end of the day, if you would have really had that perspective that all black women are just trying to hold me back, you wouldn't have gotten with your black girlfriend. God could have thrown her from the heavens to land right on your plate. And if you were in that radical mindset or thought process, you'd have been like, oh no, she's black, and she's probably gonna be like my guidance counselor. She's probably gonna hold me back. She probably doesn't want to see me successful. She's probably gonna coddle my children when I have children with her. And so there's this radical mindset that goes on inside the manosphere, and you chose to not listen to everything that you're saying right now, and ultimately that ended up being a good thing. And so I just think it's important to let other brothers know that you can't always stay in this radical mindset, okay? And more importantly, if you're going to be preaching it, then you need to practice what you're preaching. If you're saying that most black women are trash, then there should be no reason that you're with a black woman right now, right? So practice what you preach, and if that's the way you feel, I'm not going to hold it against your preferences. Right, but it sounded.
There's beauty in everybody. Don't hate.
It sounded radical from the way that you came into this conversation, and then for you to say, "Oh, but I got a black girl, so it's all good." Not necessarily.
I mean, I guess the way I see it is, I brought up one anecdotal experience, but if you play the playback and listen to everything I said, I was speaking more in generalities. I feel like everyone on this panel was taking it more on a personal. I wasn't.
You sound self-deprecating the whole time, every time I hear you talk. And it really is frustrating when I hear you talk, because why do you hate yourself?
The host is talking about how bad black men are, and he's a black man. I mean, could I ask him why he hates himself?
No. I'm asking you specifically. Why are you making this a point?
So I hate myself because I'm critiquing black women, right? But we have a host critiquing black men, and he's a black man.
But you see, the thing is, this is the difference between you and I, bro. I'm not critiquing black women. I'm critiquing black men.
Yeah.
And you're a black man, right?
I'm a black man, yes. And so ultimately, you want to know the ultimate truth? I do have a severe disdain for a lot of black men. Obviously, no, I don't hate myself.
Correct. And I understand that.
But
I understand that.
But you're not a black. You're not a black woman, though, man. So your critiques of black women, I get it, and everybody can critique who they want to critique, and we're somewhat getting off the talking point here. But I don't address black women specifically because that's not for me to be able to address. Okay, I don't understand everything that the black woman has to deal with. But what I can see through their eyes is, as a black man, and what I've experienced with other black men, and how that reflects to maybe a lot of what's going on in their community as well. But the reason that I speak to black men is because I am a black man, right? So, really quickly before we keep going there, I want to let Psycho Candy go ahead and speak, and then JD afterwards, and we can kind of reel things back in. Go ahead, Psycho Candy. Psycho Candy just left. There he is. Unmute yourself. Oh, you can't? Okay. Well, just unmute yourself whenever you can. JD, did you want to say something?
Oh, sorry. I was on mute. Yeah, I don't understand why he's having such a hard time. Men should be correcting men.
Right.
And women should be correcting women. And that's why I made the point earlier that black men globally seem to be the only group of men that don't understand the measure of manhood being how the women and children faring in your community. If they are not faring well, it means that you've epically failed as a man. You are not a leader just because you have a penis.
That's it. That's so true. Ultimately, the point of my stream, Stampitis, is to get men to understand that whatever goes on in your community, like JD said, is ultimately your responsibility. That's what you want. That's the responsibility that you as a man desire.
It's not fair, but it's life.
It's not fair, but it's life. And so you can't just be belittling black women, being with a black woman, as well as belittling them, and putting this all on their shoulders because you as a man want the responsibility of leadership. I've told this and I've used this metaphor before, but when the championship football coach goes to the Super Bowl and loses the Super Bowl as the leader of the team, he's most likely going to get fired. If he wins the Super Bowl, he'll get a promotion. Now, the interesting thing about this is that the coach or the players on the field might have a mishap, right? For instance, a player might fumble the ball, but guess what? That fumble of the ball will still be overlooked to a coaching error at the end of the game or the season. And as a result, they're going to bring that coach into the office, and they're going to say, hey, that fumble that you had on the last play when you could have scored and won the game touchdown, what happened there? Well, he fumbled the ball. Why did he fumble the ball? Well, he fumbled the ball because we didn't go over enough fumbling drills, or we didn't go over enough whatever. They're still going to hold the coach accountable for how the players on their team lose the game, right? The coach isn't playing in the game necessarily, but since he's the leader, everything that the players do is a direct representation of the coaching. So that's why addressing the women does not do the same justice as it does addressing the men. And just like Yoki said here in the comments, you still have yet to address men this entire time. So far, you've spoken solely to women. I see. This is the thing. I used to be like you, Stampitis, where I'd say, "Man, women are this, women are that, women are this," and then I realized. I said, "Wait a second." I said I wouldn't even want my sister to date some of these guys that I'm talking on the panel with, and I said, "Wait a second. I wouldn't even want my sister to date me at the current stage of my life." So why
is Stamp is so mad at women? That's the one thing that I'm just kind of blown away. He is frustrated at black women, and I don't get that.
Right. I mean, for if we have frustrations, we can have frustrations, and yeah, I don't think it's healthy, Fed, to have frustrations. But if you're gonna have frustrations, then you still have to have appropriate frustrations towards the right party. All right. The women and the children are a direct representation of the community or the nest that they're provided. Okay, so that's just the way it goes, bro. You're not a leader if you can't acknowledge that. So it would do you more benefit to start addressing men than it would to address the women. The women are going to follow exactly what you do. Guess what, Stampitis? If you had more black men that were educated, upstanding, and talked the way that you did, and had a good, for the most part, head on their shoulder, then you probably have no problem with more women following black men, bro. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and let me tell you, in your relationship, do you have a problem with your girl following you, or I don't know, playing into your game plan, for lack of a better term?
Nah, not at all. I don't have those.
Of course, naturally, because you're on your game, right? You're doing what you're supposed to be doing in life.
I feel like I am. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying, bro. Addressing the woman isn't the cause of the issue. You're addressing the issue, but you need to address the cause of the issue. For instance, if you have a cavity in your tooth, you can get teeth whitener, you can do this, do that, but you might just have to get a root extraction, right? You might have to cut a lot underneath to get the ultimate problem solved. Okay, so you dressing it up, putting a cap on it isn't going to fix it. And right now, you trying to go after black women is trying to put a cap on the tooth rather than actually getting in, cutting out the root, and figuring out the actual issue of the causation of problems here. And so,
don't hate, appreciate.
Well, that's crazy. And so, I want black men to start collectively understanding the reason behind the action. For instance, if I'm going to work and I'm a manager and my employee is doing horrible on the line, which I've been a manager at Taco Bell before, it would be harmful for me to say, "Well, you're not working fast enough. You're not doing good. What's going on?" I mean, come on. They're probably going to be like, well, "Okay, well, screw you. I'm going home. I quit this job." What would be a lot more beneficial for me as the leader of that establishment, as the leader of that employee, is to say, "Hey, let's talk. I've noticed that there's some things. Can I help you with anything? Can I do this or that?" Now, you can't tell a black man in the manosphere this because they're going to call me a simp and a panderer, right? Which is the exact reason that black men are dead last in every aspect of America. But this is the way that a man handles situations. It's not all just direct confrontation. This life is chess, not checkers. You have to think very strategically on how you relate to your women and people, period, in life. And you just going off the handle and telling them this is all your fault. Y'all all screwed up. Y'all screwed up the community. You're all gonna die alone. That's gonna have an inverse effect on what you're psychologically trying to address and correct in the minds of the players on your team. Okay, life is deeper. It's deeper than rap. Okay, so as a man, you need to start telling your brothers and addressing the cause of the situation, not the situation itself. I'll let you go in 1 second. It's whatever. Welcome to the panel. What did you have to add to this?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, hey. So I just wanted to address just two things that Stembitis was talking about, and him with the issue with single mothers and how it's a huge problem in the Black community. And while that's true, I think that it's also like if you really cared about single mothers and the children that they raise, I think that you wouldn't necessarily have an issue with Russell Wilson doing what he's doing, because what he's doing is he's raising a young Black boy. Yes, he's not his biologically, but he will set him up in a position of wealth.
At this point in time, I think I have to have some like theme music or something waiting.
Oh, Fed, just 1 second, Fed. I can't keep interrupting, okay? But I appreciate you. Go ahead.
So, in a position where he could help other Black men out in the future, right? So like who's to say that he could, own a huge company where he employs a lot of Black men, but with the mentality that the Black manosphere has is really a detriment to a lot of Black children, especially Black boys, if they're being raised without fathers in the home. So I just think that I don't know. It's just kind of contradictory. Like, do you want them to have fathers in the home where they're not their biological? And then like with Russell Wilson being a high value man, he has the resources to make sure that his son and all of the generations are okay. You know what I mean?
I guess I understand what you're saying. Like I told the host, I don't really have a dog in a fight. I'm not one of them black men. Oh man, Russell Wilson, you shouldn't be doing this. But looking at it, only thing I gotta say is you're right. He is doing a good thing, but I just personally think someone of his stature just deserves much better. But that's just my opinion. I'm allowed to have my own opinion. I don't care what the man is doing. I'm not one of those ones commenting on his or whatever. So that's what I gotta say about that.
But you are commenting on his whatever right now.
Well, I'm commenting on your show because you guys are bringing it up and it was the topic, right? But I'm not going to his page and saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing this." Or
right, but you'll also comment amongst your peer groups and friend groups if y'all have the conversation of Russell Wilson, and then that's when the damage occurs. You understand how that works?
I mean, you're telling me I'm not allowed to have my own opinion. If somebody's going to ask me, or if
you can have your own opinion, but when your own opinion contradicts exactly what you're saying is wrong in the Black community, i.e., single mothers, when the solution is men like Russell Wilson deciding to actually be with a single mother to uplift single mothers and to actually raise viable children that single mothers might have had with irresponsible black men, that contradicts what you're saying you want for the black community. Do you understand that?
Well, I understand what you're saying. I mean, well, opinions, you're allowed to be contradictory or right, whatever. That's the
Right, but
basis of an
if you
opinion.
contradict yourself, a nation divided cannot prosper. Okay, that's
Right.
from
I get
a
what you're
great book. So
saying.
you
I'm,
can't
what I'm
say
saying
that you
is I
want
don't
black
have a
women to do
dog in the
better,
fight. I don't care about what Russell Wilson's doing. But if you were to ask
but
my
you do
opinion,
care about what Russell Wilson is doing.
I don't. I don't. I really don't. My opinion is I think he deserves better. That's all I'm saying.
But
Okay,
what
so
is your
that
reasoning for that?
your opinion is based in care. Do you understand that? I can't have an opinion on something I don't care about. For instance, NASCAR, I'm not that big on NASCAR. So I'm not going to say, well, I think he should have done this. It doesn't matter to me, bro.
But if
I
I
don't
were to ask you, like, okay, well, do you think NASCAR is a good sport? Do you think it's a bad sport? If
I don't
you
have
say
an
you,
opinion. I don't have an opinion on that. I don't know. I don't have enough knowledge or information about NASCAR. How could I speak on something that I don't know anything about?
I mean, I guess you're right. I mean,
Right.
I guess
That's
you're right.
rational thinking here, man. You can't say I don't have an opinion, but I think he deserves better. That's an opinion. You- I mean, you can't
Right. I
say I
said
don't
that.
care.
I said
You
it's
can't say I
my
don't care but have an
opinion.
opinion.
And
So,
opinions aren't necessarily based in rationale. It's an opinion.
well, opinions based in care. Still, I misquoted myself. You can't say I don't care but have an opinion, man. That shows that to some extent you care. That's how opinions form.
Right. Okay.
It's
I see
natural.
what you're saying.
You
I
see
see
what
what
I'm
you're saying.
saying? Yeah, that's all I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
saying, bro. And so what
Okay.
happens is if somebody listens to you, you say, "Well, I don't care, but this is what I think." Then now you're spreading something, and all I'm saying is that directly conflicts with what you want. If single women are the problem, single mother parenthoods are the problem, and you have men that are saying, "Okay, we'll be the man," then I mean, I think that should be a good thing. Like it's whatever said. I mean, what's the problem, bro? Like, and it goes back to still, if Russell Wilson is happy, if this man lays in bed happy and he feels lucky, even if they get divorced in the future, man, okay, even if the everything comes down and they break up, listen, he's his own man, bro. I mean, bro, look, bro, let him learn if that's the case. If they stay married for life, great, that's good. I'm happy for him. Okay, but right now, what he's doing is beneficial to the community. It's whatever. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, well, no, and that's totally the thing, right? So when men come into the homes, because the children are already here, right? They can't disappear. And yeah, maybe there is some prevention that could have been done and before, but when they're here and they need to be raised, and there are men willing to come into the homes and provide that structure for the children, I just don't think that it's up to the manosphere to decide that they deserve better, and they don't need to be with them. They need to be with 18-year-old women. Because I do hear what you guys are talking about. And it's just really, I don't know. I don't know if it comes from anger. And it's just a lot of it isn't logical, right? Because a high value man is going to choose who he wants to choose, right? So I'm going to bring up Jeff Bezos just because like he literally ended his marriage to be with she's older than him, and she's a single mom, and he decided that was the woman for him. And like for a regular schmegular guy to be like, oh well, he should have done this, it doesn't make any sense. Like he's gonna choose who he wants to choose, who he feels is his equal, his partner. So that's all I wanted to say about that. I wanted to also address another thing that you were talking about as far as past experiences with Black women. And I totally agree with Loren for the fact that I do think that a lot of Black men hold on to, things that happened with Black women in the past and use it against us a lot of the time when they become older and things like that. But it's just like, imagine if it were the other way around, like Black women in general, I feel like wouldn't even interact with Black men, because I can tell you personally, like, and this is why the thing that happened in Harlem with that woman triggered me so much, because I literally was my first interaction with a Black guy, where there are actually two of them. When I was 13 years old, I went to the mall. I'll never forget. I literally just like didn't respond because they were trying to tell me to come here. And I was like, no. And I was with my friend. And this guy literally came up to me and yanked my earring out of my ear. Like It was the most painful thing ever. He called me a bee or whatever, and like I was like bleeding everywhere, and I just remember being so traumatized. So then it's just like I can imagine, you know, any future interactions, like if I had held on to that, what that would do to me psychologically. So I just want you to take that into consideration too, because a lot of Black girls grow up and have these experiences where men feel like they're entitled to them sexually. And it's a really big issue. And I think that if you're in those spaces as men, because I hear the way you talk, and it's really, really disturbing, that you should start there first, as far as how you view women in general.
Yeah, I agree. You know, unfortunately, that's it's whatever says the truth, and even though your own personal decisions, Stampitis, reflect differently from what you're saying, essentially, the side that you take, the men that you speak in agreement with, are some of the most demonic, evil, sadistic minds that I've seen on the internet. These men have some serious mental health issues, man, and that's the sword that you're falling on. You're falling on the sword of the Black manosphere. You're falling on the sword of Black men who truly don't care about you, man. Um, I, I'm not sure how else to convince you that the words that I say should far outweigh any words that you say or feel right now. And the bigger thing is that your own personal choices even outweigh what you feel and say right now. But I don't know how you don't see that what you're saying in accordance or in agreement with the Black manosphere isn't detrimental to you. And I don't agree how you don't see that the words that you're saying are related to the words of the Black manosphere, because a lot of the talking points that you use are the same things I hear them say. They're the same men that I've heard say that Black women need to be beaten with leather whips, and Black women need to just cook, clean, and shut the fuck up, and Black women deserve to be beaten or slapped every once in a while. These are words that I've heard men say on manosphere channels, on live panels. I was on the panels to witness this. These are so you're taking up men of this ilk and value, and how you're able to do that but not to understand or see what I'm saying, or just to have, a conversation or an acknowledgement within yourself that, what, truth might be onto a little more than I'm giving him credit for. That's disturbing to me, bro. you know
I mean, I don't agree with they should be beaten and all that kind of stuff. That's just crazy. But to, I mean, I'm a Black man, so I'm always gonna ride for the Black man. It's just crazy to go against the Black man, in my opinion.
Yeah, but the Black man's not going to always ride for you, homie.
You think Black women are always gonna ride for you? You're crazy.
I could tell you that I'd much rather place my odds on a Black woman helping me than a Black man helping me. And when I was homeless, sleeping in my car, uh, very few Black men reached out to help to me, but a prostitute who worked at the Motel 6 let me stay in her apartment, in her hotel room, for hours a day to get out of the 110-degree weather. Meanwhile, my homies, I couldn't get to answer the phone. I couldn't get them to front me a couple dollars. I couldn't do any of this. And so, just like you have your own personal experiences, I've had a good amount of personal experiences as well, to just see how far Black men would go for me. And I could tell you that honestly, I'm not too impressed, man. If I would have listened to the points of the manosphere and and everything that they said, I would have been in a far worse place than if I would have just given people a chance at face value and let things take its course. So you can believe whatever you want to believe. I can tell you at the end of the day, it's not a Black woman who's going to come busting into your house and robbing you. It's not a Black woman who's probably going to carjack you. It's not a Black woman who you have a higher chance of being shot by. Those numbers and statistics prove it. Just like as the little lawyer, wannabe lawyer guy, I don't know what the JD doc, I don't know, whatever degree he has, said earlier, it's not Black women that are locked up at a far higher rate. So you go ahead and think that those brothers are going to ride for you. I hope that for your sake, it works out in the long run. But I can tell you that statistically, it's probably not in your favor. Okay, so take that for what you will.
I wanted to
Rebecca.
add really quick.
Oh,
I
go
wanted
ahead.
to
Yeah,
add
go
really
ahead.
quick
Whatever.
before I get off.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I don't know why Black men all of a sudden are just saying that Black women don't ride for them when literally, what it was a few months ago, like, and I'm gonna just go off celebrities, right? Meg Thee Stallion did not call the police after she was shot by a Black man. I don't think you realize the amount of, if you're gonna talk about simping and caping and stuff like that, I don't think there is a bigger caper for Black men than Black women, like to their detriment, and to where they will pay for their lives to protect Black men's image. So I just don't understand where you guys are getting this from. I don't know if I mean, I just don't know. But and I've had personal experiences where my friends that are were in relationships with, like I said, would literally like fight them and they wouldn't call the police on them for because of XYZ. I don't know. So I just and then anytime you'll see, the like a Black man going to jail or anything like that, they're the women there saying free him or he didn't do it or anything like that. I don't see their friends doing any of that. I don't see their Black guy friends doing any of that. Who bails them out? The women do. Like it goes so deep. So yeah.
Yeah, what we're starting to see is that once a man is solidified in his thought, it takes a very high level of I don't know. I guess you could just say I don't know. It takes a lot for a man to start to say, you know what, maybe I'm wrong, and not everybody can be right. I've admitted my faults. I've admitted that I have a lot of work to do, and that's part of being a man. But what we're seeing in these men in these communities is that once they believe what they believe, you can't teach them anything. And once again, that's why I have no reason telling Black women to leave Black men the fuck alone. Run for your lives. Run for your lives. The good Black men, even in this case, still could be detrimental to you. No offense to you, Stampitis, and I want to retort one of the comments saying that you've been a good sport. You really have. I appreciate your maturity, and I know we've been beating you up pretty hard, but I beat you up hard because you are one of the educated Black men. You are part of the minority, and once again, even still, I know that you're with a Black woman, but a lot of Black men who find themselves in your level of intellect and economical fortitude act more on the words that you're speaking than you do, and that's a big problem there. Black women are starting to run into dead ends with the educated Black man and with the Pookie and Ray Ray. So, Rebecca Bart, welcome to the stream. What did you have to add to the conversation?
Hi, hello.
Hey, Rebecca.
So, hi, hello. It's like my first time on the stream, but I've been listening for a while, so I don't know. I really appreciate this space to just talk about, I guess, the Black community and some of the issues going on. So, I did want to make a comment before I guess because I have a question slash comment, but I wanted to just comment on the young woman who spoke before me. It seems like, I mean, I agreed with a lot of her points, and it seems to me that, Black women, we are ride or die, and have been in the past. I mean, that's changing now, but I think that line, I'm trying to think which rapper said it, but like, you don't know what you have until it's gone. And I just think that it's like a day of reckoning when Black men, they look around and they realize like we were there, like it's as if we're being taken advantage of, as we're being like sort of not being appreciated, being taken for granted, and it's like once we're gone, like we'll be gone. So it's I hope, but I love Black men, and I really hope that they can get it together, or at least see past their ego to realize, like, to make the changes, so that doesn't have to happen, because I'm really like rooting for them, but I just get more and more disheartened every day, just seeing how much we aren't appreciated. So that's just like my side comment to that. And I guess maybe a question I have, question slash comment. So the question I have really is for Stampidus. Is that how you say it? Stampidus? Stampitis?
Stampitis, that's how you say it.
Stampitis. Okay, all right, thanks, Stampitis. My question for you or comment. So something I've noticed in the manosphere is how often single mothers are talked about in like a very negative light. And I struggle with this. I don't have kids of my own, but that doesn't really make any sense. Only because I just think that
Rebecca, really quickly, are you on a microphone of some sort?
I'm on like I have my like earphones in.
Can you unplug them really quickly and then try talking?
Yeah, is it hard to hear me? Okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of cutting in and out a little bit. Just want to test something.
Yeah.
Try talking. I can't
Is
hear you
that
at all
better?
now. Keep
Is
talking.
that better?
Yeah, I
Can you
think it
hear
sounds
me?
better. Go ahead.
Wait, breaking up.
Okay.
Okay, I can kind of hear it. I'm
I
breaking up.
think it's just your connection, to be honest. But go ahead if you can. Just try and quickly summarize it really quickly. It's just kind of hard to. I don't mean to
Okay,
rush you or
sure.
anything.
Yeah, I understand. So the idea is just I feel like single mothers are like demonized. It seems like they're made to seem like they're not worth anything good in life, and I guess I struggle with that. I just don't understand it only because to me, the woman chose to have the kid, like which is incredibly brave and probably like I mean I haven't given birth, but birth sounds like a very hard thing, and something that I feel like a lot of men couldn't even handle doing. And then they do that and they stay. So that to me shows a lot of, I guess, yeah, a lot of bravery and courage. And so I don't understand that. And so maybe you can explain, or maybe maybe you don't agree with this position, but I'm curious to know why that's happening. And if you do agree with that, I guess why that's a thing.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm going to put you on mute. If you have
Yeah,
something
thank
that
you.
you want to interject with, then go ahead. Okay. And to kind of follow up with that, Stampitis, before you answer that question of the strength that Black women do have to be mothers and to be essentially shit on by the same men that impregnated them, irregardless of whether or not they're at fault for their choice in a bad man or this or that nature. The fact that the Black man somehow makes himself the moral judge of character in the Black community, it bewilders me. But past that, I just want to kind of liken your situation to this: is that I know that you speak to the negative aspects of Black women and this of that nature, but you being with a Black woman but speaking negatively about Black women, A, should disturb her, if I'm being completely honest with you. But B, it should it's kind of like me picking out a BMW but then talking shit about like BMWs. It's like, bro, I wouldn't have gotten a BMW if I didn't think that BMWs were worth a damn, because I don't like BMW. So I want to let you answer Rebecca Bart's question, but I just want to make that metaphor. Go ahead, Stampitis.
First of all, I do want to point out that having a child is very, very dangerous, and I think it needs to be talked about more. My girlfriend, she had this thing called preeclampsia, and she nearly died having our son. So, do want to point that out. It is very dangerous, and I think
Stampitis, thank you for pointing that out. Are you married? It's whatever. Just wanted to ask you.
I am not married. I'm not married.
Cool. Okay, go ahead.
Once divorced though, but like not married. So, anyways, but to answer your question, why is it viewed as a negative thing? Well, let me ask you this, Miss Rebecca. Would you want to see your nephew, or you said you had no kids, would you want to see a male in your family with somebody that already has a child? I mean, and I'm not expecting you to answer one way or the other. Just answer that yourself. And I think that'll give you a little bit of an insight. You could probably answer your own question.
I think Loren wanted to answer. Loren, make sure you unmute yourself.
Yes, it doesn't matter if that's what they choose. Both of my sisters were single mothers before they got married, and one of them had the father. Both of them brought kids into the relationship. It's not that might be your preference as a man, but the thing is, what I see in the manosphere is that men project their preferences onto other men, and they think that all men feel that way. But like, what do you mean? Would I want to see my nephew with a single mother? I want to see my nephew make a good decision for his life. That he could be with a woman that doesn't have kids and he could still end up in a probably even worse situation or a terrible situation. So it doesn't matter if they have kids or not. Like, you want to make a good decision. That's not the only factor. It's whether or not that person is going to treat your family member right or not.
Yeah, and to kind of follow that up, I mean, bruh, even if it was my son, if my son came to me and said, "Pop, I love this girl, I love this and that," I'll say, "Okay, go ahead, son. Hey, I wish you the best." I mean, I legitimately would say that. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, hold on, bruh. She's got kids, man. She's got kids." And even if that was, even if that was my hang up, I would say, "Hey, listen, son. I hope that this works out for you. I just want to let you know that if I were in your situation, this is what I would do to kind of make sure that you can improve your odds and statistics of having a good relationship in that case." But simply outright telling them you shouldn't be with this person, that's nothing constructive. There's nothing masculine about what you're adding to that situation. You're adding more problems than you are actually adding solutions. Now, the more appropriate way of you addressing this would be to address the situation and say, "Hey, like I said, um, I may not support this, but since I love you and I'm glad that you're happy, I want to offer my wisdom and tutelage on how maybe you could make this situation with the single mother be the best relationship that it can be." All right. You don't own a person, brother. Your child isn't your slave. My child isn't my slave. I don't have any children. Right. But if I did, their happiness, listen, hey, I'll tell you what I think. But if, as long as they're not doing anything harming anybody else physically, or as long as I know it's not something where they're at an extreme level of peril or danger, then hey, man, look, what are you gonna do? What, you're gonna tell somebody that they shouldn't be with another person for the simple fact that you don't agree with their beliefs? I mean, let me be honest here. Do you think that girl's father agrees with you having a kid with her but not marrying her?
No.
Of course not, bro. But if she listens, if she were to listen to somebody like you, and her father was a man like you and said that she needs to break up with you because he hasn't put a ring on her finger, how would you feel?
I mean, I wouldn't feel good about it, but I
Of
would
course you
understand his
wouldn't feel
position.
good. Of course you wouldn't
I
feel
would
good.
understand where he's coming from, though.
Well, you can understand as much as you want to, but at the end of the day, I think that you can agree that you're more happy that she's deciding to stay in a relationship with you right now, right?
Of course.
Of course, man. Of course. Now, here's the bigger thing. If you actually work out and you all stick together and everything is good, then guess what? Those feelings that her father has would have been irrelevant to the situation that you have with your girlfriend. Why? Because your relationship stood against what the persecutions and the thoughts or the stereotypical ideas that her father or her mother or her family or society is confounded in. Right. So it goes back to this whole thing. Well, I'm different. Every black man thinks they're different. Every black man thinks they're worthy of a woman to worship them when they're making $15 an hour. But the fact of the matter is that you're not different right now, bro. You're falling into, whether or not you choose to accept it, the same pattern that most black men fall into. Okay, so you're right there, man. If you split up with your girl, guess what? You've created a single baby mother, right? Now, I'm not wishing you to do that, but I need you to understand that even somebody who's going against the very same things that he's talking about is living exactly what he's talking about. You get that?
Yeah, I think you illustrated your point. I can agree with that.
Yeah, man. So listen, like I said, you're well spoken, dude, and I hope that y'all stay together. But in the off chance that you break up, you're now part of that problem, bro. And that's the issue that I have with the ministry. That's why I say, bro, don't go dying on the sword that they're laying on the hill. Because if things go wrong, you're gonna be the nigga that they're talking about. And then
You're
what?
right. I would hope, but I guess, well, some men actually create the problems. I didn't go into this trying to create the problem, but you are right.
Yeah,
So
man. You know, it's listen, I say this all the time. I had to look myself in the mirror when my girl broke up with me. After a couple years, I was mad. I was angry. I was like, man, she should have loved me. I helped her out. I did so much. I was a good dude. I'm a nice person. I'm this, I'm that. Hey, I had to say, man, listen, Jonathan, you ain't shit right now. I mean, being a nice person isn't gonna pay for the bills. Being a nice person isn't gonna pay for her doctor visits to figure out why she has a headache right now. And so I mean, it hurts, man, but it's the truth. It's the truth. As a man, I had to accept that, and that's just the nature of being a man, bro. So I wish more men were like you, man. I really do. I wish more men were like you. But the fact of the matter is that most men are not like you, Stampitis. Most men are not like you, brother. Aside from the fact that they don't have your education level, the reasoning isn't there, the acceptance isn't there. I mean, they're a shell of what you are, and that's the truth, bro. So I want to give a huge shout out to you, Stampitis, for your maturity, bro. I really appreciate you, and I know we went hard on you, but it's because you are such a crucial type of man in the community. We don't have a lot of Stampitises, man. You're very important to the community, and the very important ones, I have to make sure that I just don't let you swim away that easily. I can't give you that because you have too much behind you. There's too much weight and bearing to your name, and so it's my job to tell you, just as I told myself, one man to another, that we need to do better. And I'm trying to do better for myself as well. I just passed my property and casualty license exam, so I'm getting ready to be a licensed real insurance agent.
Congratulations, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you all so much. I know everybody on the channel has kind of been waiting for that. I just took the test yesterday. I studied for 2 months. It's a very hard test. It's not very hard, but a lot of people fail the first time, and I passed it. And so even myself, I have to say, okay, Jonathan, if you're going to be telling niggas to get on their shit, what are you doing to get on your shit? I can't just be sitting on YouTube. I mean, that's good to do YouTube, and I'm glad for it. I'm glad I have 1,000 subscribers, but I can't just hold myself on YouTube. I go, okay, what else am I doing? What more can I do? I need to be bettering the content of the channel. I need to get a nicer camera. I need to get a microphone. I need to have the look down. I need to look good. I need to shave. I still need to get my hair twisted because it's looking dusty right here. I need to make sure that I'm living what I'm saying, bro. And so yeah, what I want to do really quickly is Stampitis. I know you got to get out of here, and you spent a lot of time. Thank you to everybody congratulating me. Did you have any closing words? And I want to always extend the olive branch to you. You're always more than welcome on the channel. I loved having you on here, man.
I just wanted to say, like, I came on here because I think the show is good. I think the host is trying to address the real problem, which I agree with him, is black men. But I came on here to give you guys insight as to why the quote unquote manosphere thinks the way they do. A lot of people in the comments are trying to make personal attacks against me. It doesn't hurt my feelings at all. You don't know me, so it's okay. But I came on here to give you insight as to why the men think the way they do. And that's all I want to say. Thank you for having me on your show again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Stampitis. Hopefully we talk soon, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, now. Bye. That was Stampitis, ladies and gentlemen. A good look into the sphere, the mentality, the logic, the reasoning that I am actively here on this channel and other channels as well, fighting so hard against. And the good thing about Stampitis is that he's willing to listen, right? And even though, his final words at the end of the day still might have been somewhat similar to the words that he walked into this panel saying, I can guarantee you that there's a little bit of change. There's a little bit of acceptance, more than was when he first walked onto the panel than when he left, and honestly, facts don't care about feelings. Just like Magnificent once said, I don't care about the feelings. The only thing I care about is the truth. The truth that I don't want my sisters, who I loved to the heavens and back, having to walk into a community of men who think like men of the manosphere, bothers me. The truth that I don't want my sisters, and I didn't want my sisters, to date a man like myself who I was a year ago, bothers me. And it should bother any black person in the black community, particularly the leader of the community, which is the black man. So once again, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been doing saying congratulations to me. Taylor Beauty says, the honest truth, you should do a live this weekend in celebration for passing your exam. Yeah, I definitely think I will. I had the 1,000 subscriber celebration. I didn't have any drinks or anything like that, but we had a little celebration, and most of y'all were there. I believe you were there as well, Taylor. But yeah, maybe we can do a live like that. Just a little chill live. We have y'all come up to the panel. We can just talk, I wouldn't mind that at all. Loren, what did you think about the final outcome or the entire discussion as a whole? What did you take away from this?
What I took away was the complete contradiction that I knew the Manosphere was the whole time. I appreciate his grace and his being able to, explain why. I don't know. He didn't explain that much, but I mean, like, I understand I appreciate his perspective, but to say that you're not married to someone that you have kids with, unless you marry that girl, you have created the same exact person that you say Sierra is, that Russell Wilson doesn't deserve and should have done better. You are adding to the problem. And these Manosphere men do this all the time. They do not prioritize marriage. But they pedestalize sex, and they pedestalize things that don't matter, like is she a single mother or not. And they don't hold in high regard the things that actually matter. Marriage builds strong families. It builds a strong community. That is the community. When you have married women and men and children, and they are in a home that is an actual family unit. Not this baby mama culture. You can't be contributing to baby mama culture yourself and say Russell Wilson deserves better. That is just the most stupidest contradiction. So I can't believe he said that. And then, there was something else that he said when he was like, I can never go against Black men. And it's true. I see this, like, I don't know, this like loyalty men for men. But just speaking about like past trauma, that girl that got knocked up with the skateboard, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if that girl had an attitude for the rest of her life, who could blame her? Because like I was traumatized watching that. Like I did not see that.
That was brutal.
Yeah, that was nasty. That was disgusting. Like, and when the good Black men and the not alls, and well, I would never do that, when the goods don't speak up and hold those kinds of men accountable, that becomes the problem. And you have all the correction for women and what they should and should not be doing, but you don't want to hold the men accountable. Men should be correcting men. And I don't even know what the heck would make someone do something like that, but the fact that men don't speak up and hold that kind of stuff accountable is also a part of the problem. And it's more of this Manosphere contradiction. And so basically what I got from tonight is that the Manosphere is a giant contradiction where nothing makes sense.
Absolutely, Lauren. Absolutely. I might end up just doing another video on that concept alone, the contradictions, and this isn't the first contradiction where I've just been, facepalm, like what is this? What? But this was one that we could view live. And one of the comments above said it's good that he accepted it. I can't find the comment, but yeah, I definitely agree. I'm glad that he accepted it and admitted it. But I mean, talk about a contribution, for heaven's sake, man. I mean, my goodness, you're part of the same type of man that you're complaining about, but you're taking up this uber morale argumentative point or side against Black women, claiming that that they're the problem. Meanwhile, you're doing the same exact thing that you're telling. It's what that's why I always say that the hole is continually dug deeper. It's just dug deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and the informational. But wait, there's more. It's like it doesn't stop getting deeper with illogical beliefs and fallacies and mindsets. It doesn't stop getting deeper from hatred and resentment and the evilness that the Black Manosphere puts out and puts forth towards women. It just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. But I'm telling you, this fight is still only just beginning. It's it the content will never end, because the content can't end. Because day by day, it's just like it's so much, and so I know I don't stream as much as a lot of people would like, but I want to make these streams, when I do make them, full from beginning to end, of substantial material and things that can, over the long period of 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, start to not just completely envelop, but start to put listeners into a realm of thought that they wouldn't typically get. So I try not to make really short videos or really short streams, because if somebody just listens to something for 10 minutes and then kind of goes back to whatever everybody else is saying for the rest of the day, then they don't have that ability to really have that seed planted in their thought process. But when they are completely enveloped in another realm of logic, truth, and realness, then I think that the message is carried with a far higher amount of substantiability. Is that the word? Sustainability? I'm making up words here. I think that the message has a far greater impact than if it was just a short 45-minute stream. And so I've gotten a couple of comments saying, hey, I wish you would stream more. The reason I don't do that is because I want to make sure that every time I come on here, that it's just irrefutable from beginning to end, and that it surrounds you in a different world and really takes you out of the black and white boxes that society is typically confounded in, and in this case, the black manosphere. So what we'll do is we'll read a couple of comments really quickly, and we'll start to kind of wrap this thing up. There's the comment I was talking about by Rebecca Bart. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Stampitis, Mokomami, saying that right there, for being real about it, and honestly, ultimately, holding himself accountable. And I hope, and my prayer is that he continues to hold himself accountable when he goes in his social circles, right? This is the mission of this channel, is to get men to finally hold themselves accountable and say, you know what, I can't keep saying that same thing I've been saying, because I'm part of the problem too. Just like I spoke on earlier with myself, going into their social circles and say, hey man, I can't let you say that. I can't let you say that. Hey man, I take offense to that because, I'm not married to my girl. Hey man, let's chill on that. Once we can start to have these conversations with men, once these numbers start to grow and more men start to see men like Stampitis who are truthful, and we can kind of get this normalized, then we'll start making a change. All right. Then we'll start making a change. Right. The manosphere would call him Stampookie. Yeah, they'd get on him. The manosphere, the same brothers that he's falling and dying for, would roast him to Timbuktu. Absolutely. Absolutely. They'd call him a simp. They would destroy him. So let's read a couple more of these. Organic Black says the honest truth. You passed. Thank you, Organic Black. It's always good to have your comments here. And Organic Black, if you don't know, is one of the top contributors, actually the top contributor of the channel. A huge special shout out to Organic Black. Hopefully we can have you on the panel someday, Organic Black. It'd be really nice. JD Bailey says, ladies, these are the select high value good men that black men's claim to be. That's it. That's it. This is absolutely disturbing. Absolutely disturbing. Absolutely disturbing. Psycho Candy says, is there a link? Yeah, we'll invite a couple more people onto the panel. Sorry. My bad, Psycho Candy. Just trying to catch up on these. That's THT leaving Dusty Land soon. Absolutely. Yeah, it's looking pretty promising. It's looking really promising with the new gig. And, multiple streams of income is the name of the game in 2021. You got to have things going for yourself. If one bridge burns and falls, you got to have another bridge under construction and or ready to cross within an ample amount of time. So we're entering a time in a sphere where, you got to get on your game in 2021. You can't come weak in 2021. There's the link if anybody would like to join really quickly and add any final comments. Persuasive Harlot says, he was pissing me off with all that coddling shit. Black women don't get coddled. Absolutely. Black men hold black women's feet to the fire. They hold them to the volcano. Tell them they need to do better whilst throwing them in the middle of an erupting volcano and running off of the hill. It's a very frustrating and a very hateful and demonic point of view that a lot of black men have for the women that birthed them. It's absolutely incredible. Psycho Candy, welcome to the stream. Another huge contributor. I think Psycho Candy is right behind Organic Black in contributions. It's always good to have you here, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to do another top dollar donation to take my spot back. Sorry about that, Organic. I know I'm kind of stunting on here. I just want to rant and say this, that I've been on many streams. I'm on Kim123 stream. I'm on your stream. I've been looking at Cherry Bomb, a.k.a. Creole and Cajun Living's stream. Her stream has actually been going on for like 20 hours. So we're about to approach the 24-hour mark in a couple of hours because it was going on since 2 in the morning last, I guess earlier today.
Jeez.
But You have all of these men. They get up here. They say they're high value. They want to talk about Latinas. They love Latinas, man. They have a fetish for Latinas. And I want to say this: like, black men, you're looking real bad, man. You are looking real bad on the world stage. Honestly, I mean, people are looking at you how you put down your women online. Honestly, I'm going to take all of this material. I'm going to take everything. Mad Bus Drivers material. I'm going to take the comments that I've snapshotted. I'm going to take the comments that I see from Hammer and his boys about Latinos. I'm going to show it to these women and see what they think, because that's the only way. You know what we need to do? We need to have women close the door on these guys, because that's when they're going to learn, when they can't get any woman. Quite frankly, they want to get on here. Everyone is a so-called high-value man online, I guess, but it's just a bunch of BS, bunch of nonsense. I'm tired of it. I'm fed up. There have been many guys. They go on this little tangent about black women. Do you know that black women are outpacing black men? Look, I don't even have to say anything. Look at YouTube's Black History Month little tribute. What do you see? Black women. You don't even see black men. I don't see black men on there. I saw black women. So that just goes to show, hey, black men are being left in the dust, man. And I hope that they can get it together, and I hope that they can actually take the lead and stop blaming black women, because it's not black women. It's not feminism. It's not the government. It's you, black man. It's you. If you don't like what you see in the mirror, change it, or don't look at it if you want. It's up to you. But all I'm saying is this: is that you can't go on. If you're going to other countries to get women and sex, other men are going to look at you and they're not going to respect you. They're not going to respect you. This is why the world looks at black men as boys, because they're around here. Look at the entertainers, man. Look at the entertain. Look at the baby. Look at the baby. What? Look at NBA YoungBoy. All of these people, from the entertainers to the NBA like athletes and everything. They're not real men. Anyways, I'm kind of going all over the place on a tangent. I'm done here. I've said my piece. You probably won't see me for a while in this space because I am fatigued. Man.
Oh man, not a problem, Psycho Candy. It's always good to have you here. And yeah, it definitely. Hey, war takes a lot of resources. It takes a lot of food to feed the troops. It takes a lot of provisions. It takes a lot of strategic planning, effort, time. And war is brutal. It takes a lot out of both sides. And make no mistake about it. I say this all the time, but we are in a figurative. Susan at YouTube, do not ban my channel because I'm not advocating for violence. War against a lot of men that are in our community. Mushrooms, I'll let you go ahead really quickly. Shrooms, and then Fet, you are following. We'll have the lady go first. Shrooms, what did you want to add in closing with this live stream?
Okay, so I have a couple of questions or comments. So I noticed that it's I feel like black women are held responsible for much more, and other women can do the very same thing, and it doesn't matter when it comes to black men. That's just a comment, right? Then I noticed that this whole talk of single women, they're out there creating single women, single mothers, I'm sorry, single mothers in other communities as well, and the children are turning out the same way, the same anger problems. I forget, someone on your show was talking about that. I don't remember who it was. If it was Mocha Mommy, she's awesome. And 3, I have a 16-year-old son, and I feel like he's hearing some of these talking points. So certain things he says, I'm like, where did he get that from? So I'm wondering, like, how do you think, honest truth, I should deal with a situation like that with my son possibly hearing these things, even though he didn't have the experience that a lot of these men are complaining about?
Yeah, that's a good question there. I'll put you on mute really quickly just because I hear a little bit of feedback, and when I get done, I'll unmute you. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Black Woman Sisterhood. How would you, as a mother, deal with it? Well, it's a bit challenging for you as a mother, particularly. Uh, I want to ask: is his father in his life by chance?
No, but I do have somebody else helping me. I've been with somebody for 13 years, so
Cool, cool. Okay. Well, I think that maybe you should have a conversation with the male in this case, and maybe have him take your son out if that's how y'all do things, or if you're, at that level of acquaintance or relationship amongst you guys. Go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
yeah, I just kind of wanted to say something too because I'm thinking that possibly that the person I'm with is possibly having the same talking points as well because and this is something new I'm noticing because it could be anything I would bring up. I was talking about trans women being let in women's sports and then he said something about single mothers as single mothers' faults. And I'm like, "What?"
Hmm.
So I
Wow.
don't even know if he's the right one. I mean, that's a whole other situation, but it's just like I think Black women, we're dealing with the fact that the men in our families, our sons, our husbands, our boyfriends, our fiancés, are the men in the Black manosphere, and it's very scary.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate reality of what we're living in now. Is that this message of hatred, bigotry, ignorance, and sadism is starting to be, mainstream. I just looked at Kevin's channel the other day. He's almost at 500,000 subscribers right now. And so this is something that is unfortunately going to get worse before it does get better, and there's no short or quick answer to help you remedy the situation, especially when you start to actually have this happen amongst the Black male leadership that would be primarily responsible for guiding your son out of a situation that he's getting ready to enter into. Uh, in war, there are going to be casualties of wars. There's just going to be collateral damage. There are some things that are going to happen as an indirect loss. That's just a part of the war in general. And whilst you have some sort of control over the troops and the strategies that you have in war, there are things that are happening that will happen that you have no control over. Right. The best thing that you can do, honestly, is to just have a serious conversation with him as a mother. And if you feel like the man that you're in a relationship with right now is going to start splitting, a house divided, a nation divided can't prosper, first of all. So if you feel like it's starting to go that way, then I think that you might need to have the conversation with the male, with the leadership, the authoritative figure first, especially if your son looks up to him, respects him, takes advice from him. I'm not sure where y'all are in that relationship or where he is in that relationship with that male, but it's going to take both parties in this instance to be on one accord to represent uh, the difference in a day-to-day occurrence in the morning breakfast to the dinner that happens at night, for him to be able to intake or see a direct contradiction to what he's listening to on his phone. You see, the only thing that can go directly against it is personal experiences, right? And so that would be number one. Number two, the best thing that you could do is to just have a conversation with him as a parent and say, listen, uh, I've noticed this. I've noticed and I've seen that you're starting to have a growing resentment towards women. I want you to be careful. Know that I love you as a mother. You're my son. I want the best for you. I'm not sure where your relationship is with him. I know that he's a teenager and kids think they know everything, especially at the age of 13. But being an active parent, and maybe it'll even take you monitoring the internet a little closer, cutting off the internet at night when he sleeps, um, putting parental controls on his phone or data control on his phone to where he doesn't have data past a certain time. And maybe it'll actually taking you stepping in and just being a little bit more. Now, that might not be the best answer because he could decide to rebel. That could cause a whole different amount of issues. With him not having a cell phone, I can only imagine a kid not having their cell phone at this period. But he is 13, and 13 is a very crucial age to where he needs to be very directly and closely monitored to what he's putting into his body. He's already hearing the type of rhetoric in school. He's already hearing this amongst his peer group, the word simp they throw around. TikTok, I saw one of the users saying that this has gone mainstream on TikTok, that Black men are claiming that they don't want Black women and that they have a hatred for Black women. And so Maybe direct monitoring and limited access would be the best way in this case. It's very tough. There's no one direct solution, but I can tell you that having mother and father, or the masculine role and the feminine role, coming together and supporting the traditionalistic values, um, the conservative values, the upright values of a black man, and his spot, his role in the black community is going to be pivotal at the 13 years of age. He's going to need to see a man that contradicts with what all his homies are saying. He's going to need to see a man that contradicts what Kevin Samuels is saying, right? So if you can get that, then I think it would cause yourself more harm to stay with this man, to be completely honest. I know you said you've been with him for a long time, but those are the tough decisions that you're going to have to make, because what you don't want to happen is to start to have arguments, and then your son and then this guy start to joke and stuff behind your back. Then you're going to lose control of the situation pretty quickly. And so there's unfortunately, no direct, quick answer to that. It's just going to have to be close monitoring and just having a conversation with him. If you can't get the man on board, you might have to leave that guy. Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah.
It's funny. I've never been the kind of woman to only be with black men. I've dated all, men of all races. So, including black. So that's just how I ended up with who I'm with now, right? My son's father's black, and so is the person I'm with. That's just coincidental. But it almost seems to me that maybe if I avoided black men altogether, maybe I wouldn't go through this. I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I being crazy? I don't. I sometimes I wonder, because I'm wondering if I'm sleeping with the enemy.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's whew, Lord have mercy. That's very, very, very heavy. That's something that I address, and what we need stories like your shrooms. We need stories of women who are feminine, who are trying to do best for their child, who are trying to approach, the best way that they can help continue what they've started in raising, properly rearing, and eventually contributing to society, an upright and a courageous, well-to-do black man. And when you start to make those kind of questions, whether or not I infinitely or lifelong cursed myself, eh, I think those questions definitely need to be asked. And it's unfortunate that we need to ask those questions, but it goes to further support the rhetoric that the ad teams, that the channels like mine are saying, which is that you might just be in fact sleeping with the enemy. You know, uh, Once again, going back to it, there's no quick solution in this, but you do have to keep in mind that you are a parent. And whilst I spoke with Stampitis earlier, and told him directly that sometimes our kids do things that we don't necessarily agree with. If you think and see, which I also told him, that your children are doing something which directly harms them, could harm their future, and it could harm their future prospects as well as their mind at the tender age that he is now, then it is your job as a parent to make sure that you do everything you can to stop that. And when I was younger, I had a problem looking at things on the internet, pornography and things of that nature that I shouldn't have been looking at. And so as a result, I had severe internet limit and usage. The computer was placed in the middle of the kitchen. The internet was cut off at night, and this and that. I hated it as a kid, right? But my father knew that if I continued to warp my mind in that nature, after about 5 to 10 years of continually warping my mind, there was going to be a point of no return, which I just couldn't come back from. And so as much as I hated it, as much as I hated the fact that I couldn't drive at the age of 16 when all my friends were pulling up in cars at the age of 16, the fact that I was not ready to drive at the age of 16 was extremely apparent, and my parents had to make that conscious choice. I cried, bloody murder, but they knew that I wasn't ready to drive at 16. And guess what? When I got my car at 18, I totaled it within 2 weeks because I still wasn't ready to drive. Right. So your job as a parent is going to be to make that tough call. Have a conversation with him, sit down with him, talk with him, and really try to feel out where he's at. If he's willing to reason a bit with you, if he says, well, hey, mom, this is what I think and this is how I feel. Black girls don't like me. Black girls talk bad about me. Black girls this, black girls that. Try and see what his level of emotional intellect is. his boundaries are, and whether or not he's willing to accept that, hey, all black girls aren't like this. Hey, let me tell you a story. Hey, son, what about me? Can you agree that I'm a black woman that's a bit different? Well, yeah, mom, I can see that you're a bit different. Or, hey, but you're my mom, right? Depending on the feedback that he gives you, yeah, mom, you're right. Or, no, that doesn't count because you're my mom. Start to gauge where he is emotionally, and if you feel like he's already at the point of no return, then yeah, you might have to start making drastic actions. And it's going to be tough because you say, well, see, my mom's a black woman and she's hindering my progress in life, right? But as a parent, it's your job to hinder those outside sources, those malevolent entities that seek to attack, 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 attack. Now it's supposed to be the man's job, but if there's no man in this case, the unfortunate reality is you're going to have to go ahead and play man in this situation. Yes, I understand that's not the desirable, but there's no quick way out of this situation, So gauge where he's at, see exactly how far off of the ledge or how far or how close to the edge he's leaning. If you feel like he's already jumped off, then go ahead and take responsive action. If you feel like he can still be pulled back a little bit, then start to spend more time with him. Start to just prick at his mind a little bit. Feel where he's at. Listen to him talk, and and that'll give you a good indicator of how to formulate a game plan for that. And once again, if you can, try and get a man of substance in his life. I can't make this more important, and I can't say this enough, but that man that you're dealing with is going to have a very large impact on his emotional, his physical, his spiritual development. All right. So that man, you need to really, really, figure out where that man and you stand. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that this conversation he has with his older cousin as well. And he has an older cousin who was brought up by his mother who was there for him, provided for him, was a good mother. And he actually said to my son that he doesn't date black girls because black girls are ghetto, but he did not grow up around ghetto black women. His family, no one, the women in his family are not these ghetto black women, but he chooses not to date black women because they're ghetto. So you even
Right.
have to deal with it in your own family. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. And once again, there's no quick way out of this, and this is just a byproduct of war. This is something that we're going to have to deal with. I would say that, hey, as long as he's not actually physically going out and harming black girls, as long as he's not talking about this 24/7, 365, as long as he doesn't write, damning things on the internet, monitor his profiles, as long as he doesn't start to really fall into radicalism to that level, then it's going to be what it is to a certain extent, because to a certain extent he can't get away from it. But I would encourage you to start to show him really feminine women. So what do I mean? Hop on TikTok, hey, ask him, hey son, what do you think about this girl? She's not ghetto. She talks properly. So do you think all black women talk ghetto? And show him a picture of, I don't know, a well-to-do, well-spoken black woman, pretty, whatever it might be, and see where he's at. Once again, you're gonna have to really just judge him and look at his perspective on things. Um, to some extent, like I said, he can't get away from it, right? And like you said, you can't get away from it. But as long as he's not doing anything too far out there, then this is the time and the period in life that we're at right now. This is a sad reality. This is a sad reality. But be that woman that is the contradiction day in and day out. Love him. Uh, talk to him. Direct him. Watch him. And if need be, cut off those outside influences as much as you can. You know, it's going to take a lot of time. It's a parental role. You might not have all the time to do it, but the time that you do have to do it, put in as much work as you can, and talk with him as much as you can to get him to understand that it's not healthy what you're thinking. This isn't the case with what you're thinking, and just be that proof that he can look at day to day, day in and day out, that contradicts what he sees day in and day out. That's the best thing that you can do. And I mean, hey, look, at the end of the day, there's some kids that are raised in well-to-do homes and they go out and commit murder. To some extent, we don't have full control of our children, but what you can do is the most that you can do, right? And that's all you can do. So I know that I didn't really answer your question directly, but if I had to answer it once again, just to surmise it, to summarize it, control with the appropriate level of control that you see needed. If he's jumping off the cliff, then go ahead and start to get a little bit more in enforcing. Start to cut off his outside influences if they're unhealthy, as you should do anyway. He might hate you for it, but love him out of that, and just be prepared to deal with a little bit of the consequences of war and having a teenage son as well, because it's not easy for any parent. They're not always good, no matter what, you know. So it's just a sign of the time, Shrooms. And I really do wish you the best. You know,
Thank
I
you
really
so
do.
much.
Yeah, not a problem. And hey, maybe when he gets a little bit older, start referring him to videos like these.
I
You know,
really want to.
yeah, you know, depending on what his intellectual fortitude is and where he's at in life. I mean, hey, if he's hearing women talk about, if he's hearing men talk about some of the things I've heard them talk about, then you know he might not be as innocent or childish in his understanding as you know we would like to think. And so start to point him to men of substance, of character. You know, start to get him in boys and girls clubs, youth organizations, whatever it can be, where actual men of substance can talk to him and have an effect on him, when he can see and has the ability to convene with men who are well-to-do and who contradict everything that he hears all the time, men who can make an impression on him. Then that's what I would do. You know, seek out those type of men who are trusting. It's going to be a long process. You just can't find a man to spend time with, obviously, with your son. But start to put him around situations, if at all possible, wherever you are, that directly um, go against what he hears all the time, and get him ingratiated in that. If I had to think of something, I don't know, what would I pick up? Maybe a rec league, or maybe he plays sports or outside. You know, I don't know, outside sports, or you know, some kind of youth league or whatever he's big into. Try to find men that are interested, that are well to do, that are balanced in whatever he's interested in. So I don't know what he's interested in, but that would be the best thing that I could kind of put together. You know, men that have good sense. You know, so I wish you the best of luck. And my email's on the about section of my YouTube page. Make sure that you keep in contact with me. And I'd like to keep in contact with you and kind of keep continuing to talk through this, because this is a big thing and I can't cover everything in one go, you know. And so stay in contact with me, okay?
Thank you.
Not a problem, Shrooms. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's heavy. That's very, 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 very heavy. And that's where we're heading, folks. That's where we're heading right now. You know, when we have children who have had no experience in relationships, period, who have had no ill experience of black women, period, thinking ill of black women. You know, that's something that I worry about with my sisters, with my cousins. You know, they're teenagers, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. You know, so slow and steady progress, but things will get worse before they get better. That's just the nature of things. A very disheartening call, very disheartening, but proof is in the pudding. These men, these black, demonic possessed, hatred, evil black men, think that they're actually doing and progressing the black community with their hate. Kevin Samuels really legitimately thinks that he's doing a service to the black community. How so? I have no idea. I have no idea. You have worried mothers worried about the mental health of their children, who are listening to the words that a 55-year-old, 2 times divorced man is spewing on sites like No Jumper, YouTube pages like No Jumper. We're in a very bad place, ladies and gentlemen. We're in a very, very, very bad place. Fett, I know you had a lot of points of contention to make. You are free if you want to go ahead and make it somewhat clear and concise, because I'm going to try and wrap things up here in a little bit. Go ahead. You're muted, Fett. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
All right. Can you hear me now?
I hear you.
All right. Cool. So I have a very interesting point to bring out with all this. So after the Civil War, there was a split with how things should be done. The first side decided that land, property, and farming should be a thing. The other side decided that it should be with education. And the split to this was that neither side should get anything to this. And the ironic part is there was a large part of the Black community that said that neither side should get any of these things because they don't deserve wealth. The interesting fact that I have with this is how this impacted the community now, the Black community, when they argued that slaves shouldn't get anything, and what that had for detrimental aspects for life, for the end.
Yeah, I'm not really following you too much, Fet. I maybe we can kind of talk about that on another stream right there. I'm gonna take you off. I appreciate you for coming back, but I'm not quite all there. So I appreciate you coming up, but thank you again, Fet. Loren, I think that this live stream has definitely been an opener, and I think that this has been something that we needed to have. I think that the conversations and the questions that you presented were great, and ultimately, I saw that there was growth in the conversations we had, and also that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, within these spheres, and just the level of acknowledgement or realization that things are really that bad. I saw a comment up here. Somebody said they don't have any friends who know what the Black Manosphere is. They tell them to stay off the internet. Yeah, I hear you there, Nadejane, but you might not have any information of it, but there's somebody that knows one of your friends that has information of it, right? This is spreading. Make no mistake about it. This is spreading, and so, Loren, once again, if you won the competition, which I think it was GTJ Bro or something along that lines, you now have 21 hours to claim your prize. You better hurry up, GTJ Bro, or else we're going to give it out to one of the ladies or men on the panel. Loren, did you have closing statements you wanted to make? And I appreciate you for being on once again.
Just, I really appreciate your patience and your words of encouragement because to shrooms, because that is heavy, and you have to be very careful with what is coming into your kid's head, because this stuff is out there and it is spreading and it's very dangerous. And just think of the idea of a 50-something-year-old man, a man who's 5 decades old, telling someone who hasn't even reached old enough to drink yet what he can expect from a woman, what regardless of what color she is. It just makes no sense. You have not given him a chance to have any life experience. You're filling his head with all sorts of just bad ideas about your experience and your decisions that you made in dating. And you're telling kids that never even dated before, probably haven't even had sex yet, didn't do anything yet, about what women are like and what women are going to do. And so this stuff really, really is dangerous. And I think that it's going to be like a slow build. So it will get better before it gets worse. But channels like yours, channels like Expose the Manosphere, channels like Eddie Ahim's channel, it's a growing force, because I've seen responses to your videos. I've seen responses to these videos. So they see you guys and they know you're coming. So I would say no matter how disheartening or discouraging it gets or it seems, don't stop, because it needs to happen. That's why I have no problem coming on here showing my face, because I'm not ashamed of the words that I'm using, of the words that I'm saying. And why these guys, some of them show their faces, but most of them don't. Most of them hide behind avatars the whole time, or helmets, or masks, or something like that, because they cannot stand behind anything that they say. And this is just a check for them. So, but it's harmful, it's dangerous. It's like an indoctrination. It's like a cult. Right. It's like a cult of old men that want to still bang 18-year-olds. And it's just like a sick circle of nonsense. And and they're teaching this to children. And it's crazy. So I would just say, like, I know that was kind of a downer call, because I hate to hear that. I would not want my nephew to, because my nephew's like the same age and he's such a sweet kid. I would not want to hear him come into contact with any of this stuff. Like, I would go crazy. So, you know, but like, just don't stop.
Oh, thank you so much, Loren. Y'all's support means the world. Loren, it's always good to have you up here. And you might be up here soon. In the beginning of the next stream, if GT J Bro does not reach out to you,
Yeah.
no, we'll give him some time. But once again, the owner of Unique Boutique Candles, find all of her links in the description box, as well as the comments on past videos and this video when it's posted. Loren, it's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Alrighty. Have a good night.
You too, Loren. Bye-bye. Well, folks, you can't make this stuff up. To everybody who stayed from beginning to end, I want to thank you for watching. You directly contribute to helping me get into the algorithm and for the continued growth of this channel. If you do have the ability to share this on your Facebook, if you aren't ashamed of this message, put this on your Twitter. If you do feel that the importance of this message cannot be contained and should not be contained, put this on your Instagram bio, link to my channel, I guess. I don't know how much sense that makes, but if you want to put my YouTube link on your Instagram bio, I'm not going to stop you. If you know that this message has pertinent information that's relevant to the times that we're living in as Black men and women, then make sure that you like, share, and if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, you can hear and we hear both sides of the negativity of where the manosphere is starting to affect us as people. And make no mistake about it, if it hasn't affected you yet, there's a chance when you're out in society where you run into a man who's under this evil cult-like thought behavior processes that could have an adverse effect on you or your loved ones or your children or whoever it might be. You're going to run into these men and they blend and they masquerade as Black men and as men who care about you when the truth could not be further from the point. It was a disheartening call, but I'm glad it happened. And it just shows how important my channel and Eddie Adheem channel and other content creators channels really are. Folks, make no mistake about it. This is going to be a battle, but it is one that a lot of men are waking up to, maybe not as much as we'd like, and getting behind. If you can support the channel, I definitely would appreciate your support. For all of those who have supported the channel, you have contributed directly to the battle that we're fighting now, and your support is needed and appreciated in so many ways. I don't do anything with the money other than either use them for complete necessities or to reinvest back into the channel. For all of our contributors, I can't thank you enough for supporting the channel. You're the reason why we are where we are today. PayPal links and Cash App links are in the description box below. We will be back in a couple of days. Got a lot of new stuff researched going down in the background whilst y'all wait for this live stream. We'll be back in a couple of days, and we're going to be back to dig even deeper into the despair of the Black manosphere. We're digging deeper into the rabbit hole because it gets deeper. It gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor having you here with me tonight. This has been a Truth Seekers Live production. It's always a good time when we're here, and y'all mean the world to me. As you go on your day-to-day endeavors, keep your head on a swivel. Your safety and your loved one's safety is the utmost priority. Remember, you only live one time in life. You live one time. Treat every day like the gift that it is. It's precious. Watch yourself. Watch your decisions. Watch the people that you surround yourself with. You're only as good as your company that you keep. Everything that you do in life, make sure that it's planned. Make sure that you're always moving forward, and that if you left today, you did as much as you could for the people that you love that surround you. All right? It's been an honor once again. I can't wait to see you all again. My email's in the About section. If you have business propositions, if you have any questions that you have for me, if you want to just reach me, make sure you check my About section. My business email is The Honest Truth with 2 T's between honest and truth, YT, The Honest Truth, YT at gmail.com. Reach out to me. I love you all. You mean the world. I will see you in the next live stream. Take care.